We are streaming live now. My name is Iceman. It's the OK Show.
Hey, you got Rod Rodriguez.
And it's a Thursday. And it's really hot in Japan right now. It's really, 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 really hot. It's scorching.
I can't say the same. I have the air conditioner right in front of me. It's right above me.
Well, now it's it's on. The air conditioning is like it's blasting. Yeah.
Is it centralized in your house or
no? I
each
have
room has their own?
I have an air conditioning in my living room here, then the other room, and then there's the other room. So we can't do we don't have that here in Japan. My brother in Canada has a centralized house. Like the
Is the
ventilation
heating
is
the same thing?
centralized. It's the same thing. That's why you have those stove heaters that we call. So you put that, like, that's what I put in my kitchen, which covers like the living room and the entire kitchen. So it's like the entire living and kitchen. So that would that would suffice. Just the stove heater.
Got it.
Then in my
Actually,
room, it's the aircon heater. Like in the summer, you can use the aircon. Then in the winter, you can use it as heating.
heat up.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is,
Actually
like,
prefer it.
in the Philippines,
Actually
it's
prefer it, like,
hot.
individualized.
Right. It is.
Yeah,
But what I'm saying is, like, I'm coming from a hot country. It's a tropical country. We only have like sunny days and rainy days, and that's it. We have summer, but it's not as bad as the summer here. I mean, summer here is summer. We reach up to 40, 41. And that is crazy, man. People die of heat stroke here. So it's terrible.
Yeah, that's insane. That's insane that like in the Philippines, we don't really hear very many cases of heat stroke unless people are like participating in a sporting event or something, and somebody obviously, not only because of the heat, but because of fatigue and all that stuff.
That's
But
true.
I guess certain countries, we assume because they have winter, right? Because they have winter, they have cold months.
Yeah,
We assume that the summer doesn't get crazy. But like in
it
Las
is
Vegas,
crazy.
where my mom is based, that's practically a desert. That's like the desert, like
Right.
my mom says it's hot in Vegas. It's hot in Vegas. I have not experienced Vegas weather, so I don't know.
You
But
said
like
your
in
mom's from Vegas.
California,
Yeah,
you know,
your mom's from Vegas, yeah, in
she's
America.
she,
Like,
she's based in Las Vegas. Yeah, that's where she lives
all
now. She's
right,
been
so
living there for
that's
God
basically
knows
where
how long.
How long has she been there? So is that her second, like, sort of like her
God, I don't know.
hometown
That's
in
like
America?
that's her retirement. That's where she has decided to retire. She was based in LA before,
All
and
right,
then
okay, so
she moved to Vegas, and I think she likes the perks of the senior citizens there, and I think Vegas is not for everyone, but my
right.
mom doesn't really gamble, but I guess she likes the hotels and
Wait, has she ever
the
guested
buffets.
in Joe Coy's mom's radio show?
Oh, that should be perfect though.
I know, right? I mean, do they
She
know
would
each
be
other?
perfect for that. She would be perfect for that. But it would be the other way around. It would be like, how Joko talks about, like, how I talk about my mom. It would be like
Right.
my mom talking about me, I think. Or maybe not.
Okay.
Maybe talking about all of us siblings, because I wasn't really
Yeah,
a trouble kid.
but do you think they know each other?
That I
They're
do not
both
know. That I do not
retirees.
know.
They might be in the
That's
same
right. That's right.
circle. You should ask your
I
mom,
think Joko's mom was a teacher or is a teacher. I'm not sure if she
right?
was, but yeah. I don't know, because I don't think she hangs out with very many. I don't think she's like very active with the Filipino community in Vegas.
All
I
right.
mean,
Okay. Cool.
in LA, yeah, like in California, yeah, but in Las Vegas, I don't know, because she
All
she
right.
lives in the
Well, Tita,
community, and I
in case you're watching this, I'm just gonna ask you: do you know Joe Coy's mom? I would really want to
don't.
know.
And if not, you should. And if not, you should.
Yeah, you should, and you should guest in her radio show or something.
That would be very cool. I mean, is it like Joko's mom has a like radio show? Like it's her, just her, like,
Yeah,
or
I
is she
think
with
she's
Joko?
like what do you call that? A blog timer for a certain
Okay.
AM radio station, and she has her own blog time.
It's
So
comedy
she has
or
her.
it's public service?
No,
What is it like?
it's basically about anything. It's about Filipinos, whatever. Like, she's playing music as
Okay.
well. She has guests and
Well,
whatnot.
that's
So yeah,
hilarious.
anything Filipino.
I can only imagine.
I think that's at least that's how
I can only
that's
imagine.
my impression from Joe Coy's stories.
I
Anyway,
can only
tonight,
imagine.
of course, we're talking about something that that's closer to home, to everyone in the Philippines. Me, we have a different thing going on here, but you're right. We're talking about online learning versus conventional face-to-face learning or classroom setup learning. Tell us your thoughts as parents and students. If you're a parent with kids who are who are doing the online classes, how do you feel about it? I mean, do you have complaints, or do you prefer it to be to be that way for the rest of their learning years, or would you want it to be
Yeah. The
like as
pros and
conventional
cons of
as
it, you know.
like how we
I think
learn things back in the day?
yeah, because we're like, we experienced it as students, and now we're experiencing it as parents. So I see the pros and cons of it, and my kid obviously is in fourth grade right now. So
Right.
he, his first several years of schooling was face to face,
Mm-hmm.
and I can compare. Um, and a lot of things can be. I mean, I think if it's face to face, I mean, you have to take into account that we're doing this because of the pandemic. So the situation with the kids doing online schooling, it's not the typical online schooling like the celebrities did it, where the world was normal, but because
Right.
they were busy, you have to take into account that there's a pandemic. So the kids are not really going out. They're not really going to the malls when they don't have school.
Okay.
So besides that, that kind of contributes to, I guess, the how we see online learning as we know it now, because this is the first time our kids are doing online learning as compared to normal world online learning. So that should be taken into account, because people might say, okay, it's driving our kids crazy, it's driving us crazy, but it is driving us crazier because we are together 24/7. I mean, like I said, the kids are not going to the malls, they're not doing anything. You're not taking vacations. So when you do online learning, it's just one of the many things that you do indoors and at home, and it's driving us nuts. But online learning in the normal world, I think would be different, because I mean the kids can go out, the kids can still see their friends. It's just that the classes are held online and they're at home. And a lot of celebrities did that. I think a lot of the YouTuber kids in the US, they do that. They have online classes even before the pandemic because of their schedule, doing YouTube videos 24/7. So we've kind of witnessed that on some of the YouTube videos that my kid has seen. So he's like, "What's that?" And I tell my kid, "It's like, oh, those kids that you watch, they're showing you their online classes. So they don't really go to school; they go to school online." And little did we know that a year or two from watching that, my own son would actually be participating in an actual online class, which which is because of the necessity. It wasn't because of luxury or choice that we're doing this. It's a necessity, whether you like it or not. The week you can go modular, you can go pick up the printouts and stuff, and then just submit it like end of the week. But to avoid less person to person contact, I guess, and at the
Right.
same time, so the kids are face to face with the teachers, even online. We chose the virtual class. We're paying the same tuition. I don't think modular is cheaper, so might as well do virtual. But your situation there, how different is it from here? Because here it's we're
No,
still
we're doing
kind of
face to face. We
feeling
never
things
we
out.
never went through like online learning. We never went through a phase like that. It was like canceled. Then everybody decided to like, no, let's go back to school. And we started doing it last year around June, because the opening here starts. Well, the opening it's in April, right? That's the school opening. We always have it in June, right? So we had the school opening in April last year, but then it was the peak of the pandemic, so it was canceled. And May came. It was like, all
Yeah.
right, let's still cancel it. Then in the middle of May, they finally decided to like, no, let's go back to school, because parents can't go to work. It was very difficult, so everybody decided to go back to school. Right. So we
So
did
I mean,
face to
what
face
is it like?
masks.
If you're in school, you're immune to COVID. Is that what it is? I mean, like, why is it
No,
being
it's
practiced everywhere else, and then like with school, it's okay? Like, I don't.
nobody.
That's
No,
what I don't
everybody
get.
went to
I
work. Like
mean,
there wasn't any. We encourage social distancing. Like they're like not the usual, because like the seating arrangement. It's usually like
mhm.
just close. Yeah. Now they just like, all right, like a little bit of distance. So they did that. So they're like spread apart. There's like about 35 kids in one classroom. So they just kind of like try to have that distance. And
Is there
they,
a certain way that you manage the kids? Because I mean, kids are kids. You know, you're not. I mean, I don't know how the kids are in Japan. Obviously, they're probably more well behaved or more disciplined. But like here in the Philippines,
no, when they're in the
it's like and
classroom,
you can't like they're gonna mingle, man. They're gonna like hang out and touch each other and like run
well,
around the
you
playground and
can't
stuff.
take
I
off your
mean,
mask. And when you, I think they kind of like avoided those long breaks at the beginning. So when we went back,
yeah,
it was like shorter, like because we usually finish at 4. Then they would usually finish at 2 or 1 because they kind of like there are no breaks. All right, just a 10-minute break for
yeah,
toilets and whatever. Then they didn't have those, recess that they play outside, and every
yeah.
after
So they
lunch
made
that
some
they have that one
adjustments.
hour.
Yeah,
So they didn't have
yeah.
those. So basically, just like you go to school, you get to class, you have toilet breaks, and you have the lunch. Then you go back to class again. Then after that, you go home. So there wasn't like any chance of like doing those playground stuff. So I think that went on for about almost a year. Then by the start of
Yeah.
this school year, it was kind of like more loose. But they're still practicing the same, like distancing, whatever. But they have those long breaks now. Like they have the 20-minute break in the morning, and they still, and they do have the 1 hour break after lunch. And so far,
I
it
mean,
like there wasn't any,
what's the
like
COVID
trouble, no
situation there?
problems.
I mean, is it rising?
Well,
Is
like
it
I told
dropping?
you,
Or is
the
Japan pretty fairly below the
well,
critical level? What's going on?
where I am, it's pretty cool. It's except for that one time when Filipinos have been partying a lot, going to church a lot, having those big parties. That's when the cases went up, and that's why I told you my wife was pissed because they've been doing this
Yeah, yeah,
like normal stuff, and they never had like those big cases and whatever because everybody's just like
yeah,
observing the proper decorum in times of the pandemic. We
yeah.
are discouraged being in a big crowd, especially if there's eating involved. That's a big no-no. But then Filipinos have been doing it, like they've been doing barbecue, they've been doing
Well,
weddings, like church
Patrick's
and
asking, like,
gatherings.
is
And
this K to 12, college, post grad studies? I mean, is the
no,
face to
it's just
face
in the
like in all
context
grade
of
levels?
like, well, we're tired. Well, this it's
All grade
mostly like the
levels? I
pandemic
mean,
situation, but I don't know. I mean, now you've experienced it, like pandemic, situation wise. So I mean, are you willing to go through that like the whole? I mean, for the rest of your kids'
no,
learning
no.
life
The,
or
the
learning?
situation in schooling where it's face to face, is it just like the kindergartens or is it all grade levels? That's how it is there.
Like in Japan,
There are,
no, it's
there's
like
no,
it's across the board. It's
okay.
from
All
daycare
right. I think that's
to
what Patrick wanted to know.
all right,
Yeah.
okay. Or
Because my,
I thought he
I
was
mean,
I thought he was asking because before we talked about it, I think the question was already there about like online learning. I think he wants to know if this is just in the context of K-12 college or post grad studies. I mean, if that's your question, I don't know. I mean, no, we're just talking about this online learning and conventional face-to-face learning in terms of the pandemic. How is it affecting you, and
yeah,
what are the pros and
yeah,
cons? So I don't know if
yeah.
you're willing to go through that for the rest of your kids' learning
I
years.
mean,
From what I
even
heard,
I guess
it's a
for the
nightmare.
older folks, even like with work, like it doesn't really make it. Like even with the parents, when they go to work or they have online Zoom meetings or they go to they have face to face work maybe 3 times a week, and the other days of the week, it's online. It's something to get used to. Personally, well, my take on it is, whatever gets the job done. It's beggars can't be choosers, I guess. So it's a situation where, and my take on the pandemic is, I think it's got to be all or nothing all the time. It's all or nothing. You can't like it can't be like, okay, it applies to here but it doesn't apply to here. I think it, like you said, across the board, I think it has to apply. But if certain countries and certain schools decide to have face to face, it's the option of the parents also if they want to take that risk. But I guess in Japan they don't really have that option. It's like it's all face to face. There's no online classes offered. Um, as far as I know. I mean, I'm not sure, but maybe there are. But like personally, like here in the Philippines, I think you have a choice. Because like Shara Lay says that his kid, our son rather, Judge's son, it's face to face. So he actually goes to school. He attends class with a teacher, obviously with limitations in a controlled environment and all that. But for me, it's driving me nuts, and I know it's affecting my kid. but I'm attributing it more to the pandemic, the fact that he can't go out, he can't go to the mall, he can't take breaks, we're not taking vacations or anything. We can't even just like do the normal activities that we used to do, and he can't see his friends on a normal basis. I think that's what's getting to him. It's not necessarily the online schooling. The online schooling I think is fine, but I feel like his experience is obviously drastically limited, especially when you're a kid and your social skills are still being developed. You have to interact with kids your age, you have to be in an actual school environment, and and he's deprived of that. And if my kid, my 1 year old, if he starts schooling and this is the situation, obviously I would be very much against it. I would want him to experience face-to-face schooling. It's different. I mean, it's for me, that's the way to go. And but then again, if it means curbing the pandemic or the COVID cases, then like I said, we don't really have much of a choice. But I'm more for face to face. But I've also seen the pros of online schooling, and mainly avoiding traffic, less expense on gas, just to commute alone, just to getting your kid ready and all that stuff. I mean, it saves you money in the
Right. Okay.
process. I think it saves the
Just a
parent
question
money.
though. Like, how many classes do they have when they're doing this online
My
thing?
kid,
Yeah.
per day, he has three. If I'm not mistaken, he has three.
Three?
And
Dude,
then
we have
then and
like
then they
seven,
the
six classes in a day when we were doing,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
classroom
yeah. The
setting.
normal, the normal. Yeah, he has like
Right.
three, and then on a Tuesday he has like different classes, and they make up for it with the worksheets. He has worksheets, he has activities, he has stuff, he has
Damn.
experiments. He has to submit them like on Thursday or Friday,
I feel like
and
I'm
then on
losing on
Friday
a
they have
deal here.
consultation. Yeah, when you think about
Hey,
maximizing your tuition money,
exactly.
right?
Of
When you think
course.
about that, yeah,
Like I
the
remember
schools
those
are
days
getting
when I go to school,
schools are
it's
getting
like
off
from
easy.
8 to 4. I know, right?
Schools are getting off easy, but like I said, it's a new approach in learning. It's not just a new approach in learning; it's a new approach in teaching as well. And I think the sad thing is, obviously, the Philippines is not ready for that. The instructors, the teachers, they're not ready for it. I mean, I check the worksheets. I check the
I don't think
it's
I'm
not
ready for
ready.
that.
It's not
I don't think
they're
Japan is ready for
not.
that as well.
Yeah, I don't think any countries are ready for it, but there are, I'm pretty sure, experts on the field, they know how to shortcut things, they know which are the essential stuff to learn, they know how to you know I think what we're doing here is copy paste. Like what the Philippines is doing is just copying someone else's system or making it up as we go along, because this was just implemented last year. And you can't change the whole status quo of the educational system in a span of a year. And the instructors, the teachers, when they went to school, to learn to study education and be teachers, they were not briefed on this. I don't think this is one of the things that they took up. I mean, online teaching, as far as I'm concerned, the online teachers I know are the ones that teach like English to Koreans and stuff. That's like what we deem as online teachers. But
Hmm.
now your English teacher, your math teacher, they're used to like being in front of the class with a board, teaching good morning class, blah 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 blah, handing out quizzes, taking their time. And now everything has to be shortcut, everything has to be quick, everything has to be covered in a short span. So the learning the learning has definitely been reduced to, and your kid really, I don't know how the kids are going to catch up once we go back to normal. I mean,
That's true.
are they
That's
going to,
true.
like, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But, I think the kids will adapt. It's not a problem for the kids. I think it's the teachers that are not ready. And
Hmm.
I see that, and I feel that, and I sense that. And,
Right.
but then again, as a parent, you should also be teaching your kids, also be watching. But that's the problem now that I notice a lot of the parents are complaining about, is that they feel like they're doing more work than the teachers. We're getting paid to do that, and truth be told, it's true. We are doing more work. We have to watch our kids. We have to check on their homework. Now we have to be hands-on parents, whether we want to be or not. You have to be, otherwise your kids are going to fail, because your kids are going to slack off. They don't have the teacher in front of them to check everything. They're not in school for how many hours in a day. They have all the distractions of the house. They look around them, they see their toys, they see the internet, they see their iPad. They don't feel like they're really going to a learning institution because they wake up, they're in pajamas. 5 minutes later, they're in front of the class. It doesn't really give them a very, you know, uh, I guess realistic and I guess a realistic or believable learning environment because they're like I said, they're just in their living room. Like my son does it in the living room. And what I plan to do is convert the pantry into our workstation just to sort of get him mind conditioned to learning. I mean, your kid, she's not missing out on anything because she goes to school. You as an instructor, as a teacher, you go to school. um it's not much of an adjustment for you, but for the people here in the Philippines, I think it's a major adjustment. I have a friend, his son's tuition fee is like triple almost of my kid's tuition. My kid goes to a private school, but it's a small school, so we're not paying much, at least not as much as my friend is. And they don't even have online teaching, dude. And he was like, "What?" He's like, "No, he just goes and gets the papers and whatever needs to be done, and then submits it like at the end of the week." And I'm like, "They don't have face to face, like
And
even
there's no lecture
online,
from
like
a
they don't have
teacher.
Zoom classes, like no, no." And he's like, "What?" And you're like, "You're paying the same amount for tuition?" He's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, and he asked me, I'm like, "What about Raj?" I'm like, they have 3 hours per day. Like, I'm not 3 hours, but at least 3 sessions per day with the teacher. And they have consultation on Friday. And he's like, "Okay, we only have consultation. That's it." I'm like, "And how much are you paying for tuition?" He's like, "This much." And I'm like, "Okay, well, you know what? That's the thing. That's the Filipino mentality where I have to enroll my kid in a big school because if my kid is in a big school, apparently it makes people think your kid's smarter.
Right.
But that's not it. That's not how it works.
Mm.
You're paying more and you expect your kid to learn more, but at the end of the day, you're getting the short end of the stick. So yeah, you're right when you said earlier that we were in school for like how many hours back
More or less about
during our
eight
normal time?
hours. Should be
Well,
about eight
yeah, I
hours because it's
know,
84,
I know,
right? And
I
then we don't
know. It's
even
like
go home at 4
crazy.
because we
That's
still
crazy.
stay on until 6.
Yeah,
Anyway, Patrick
yeah,
is saying as long as the internet connection is good and stable, online learning is enjoyable, but nothing can beat the experience and intricacies of face-to-face learning. That I agree. That I agree. So I'm with Cheryl Lee here. Team face to face. Anyway, Cheryl Lee also says that teacher wears PPE then for the students. They need to be masked up. Well, we we don't do that here. They wear masks and stuff, but nobody's wearing PPE here. And trust me, I think it's for the most part. I think if they observe social distancing and if they like wash their hands a lot and you have all those disinfectant around you, I think it would be fine. It wouldn't be that bad. And like no hugging, no 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 intimate whatever, like nothing of those. I think you'll be fine. Yes, a topic I have first-hand experience on, Christian J. All right. I also am available if you need a guy. Right. For what? Anyway, okay, Jong is joining us. The whole online learning thing now is just a stopgap measure. We need better systems. Yes, what do you mean? Like yeah, I agree with you. We need better systems. Um but what's this hashtag throw eraser anak na lang kutob? That I don't get. And I think Patrick was like, samahan mo ng flying chalk or whiteboard marker. Ha ha. Ha.
yeah.
I
Patrick
don't get
brings
the
up a good
reference.
point. He says it's hard to teach math or science in an online setting since teachers need a blackboard to demonstrate. And I think how they dealt with that in my kid's school is they show videos. They have videos that the kids have to watch. So, and the thing there is, it, yeah, the video is self-explanatory. It's there, but it's how long will that video hold the interest of my kid? I mean, it's different. Like what Patrick said, when there's a teacher who demands the attention to the kid, who's actually focusing on the kid and observing if the kid is paying attention and explaining it as they go along. Because I mean, if the kid just watches a video, I mean, unless that's like Ryan's toy review or like a YouTuber kid, like your kid's attention will be gone and after a minute, unless you're sitting there forcing your kid to watch the video. And I think that's where kind of where the online teaching really lacks is in the supervision department. Parents, I know a lot of parents, they just flop their kids in front of the the laptop and go learn, and expect everything to just be absorbed. And then they complain when there's an exam or a worksheet or something. Because I know, because my wife is a member, like they have like a mommy's group, and they discuss stuff. And a lot of the moms complain, like, my kid doesn't understand anything, or how come we don't know this, or how come, because really, as a parent, you have to sit almost next to your kid, just to, because sometimes your kid is opening another window and is playing Roblox.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I catch my kid doing that. Sometimes he'd be playing Minecraft. I'm like, okay, he's clicking real quick. I'm like, oh, wow, he's really busy with his classes. And I check him out, and he's playing a game.
Minecraft.
And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, the teacher's still talking. I'm like, what are you? You're supposed to pay attention, And that's what I'm saying. It's like, they need to be supervised, especially at that critical age, where they're like, my kid's like 9 years old. They'll take every distraction they can get. And that's what online teaching lacks: the supervision, the actual face-to-face kind of, discipline, learning discipline that the kids need. You can't just give them all the materials, a video, bombard them with all these worksheets and expect them to just do it with gusto and like turn everything in at the end of the week. No, the kids are going to be like, they're going to procrastinate. And it's kind of developing bad learning habits, because kids know that they can just hold off everything at the end of the week and then do it then. And it is in math and science, like Patrick mentioned, that those are the toughest. Lay's not feeling that yet, because her kid's young. It's all mostly playtime and like ABCDs and stuff.
Right.
But
But then
once,
I
yeah,
read this comment from her, which says they will experience flying sandok and slippers from moms instead. Are these things happening now? I mean, I don't. I mean,
yeah,
okay.
yes,
My time,
yes,
yes. My time. I know this is happening, but it's 2021, and in a few months will be 2022. I just want to
yeah,
ask, like, are these things happening still? Like,
yes, yes.
really?
It's not.
Okay.
It wasn't happen. Ice. It wasn't happening, but because of the stress of the kids, not really paying attention in class online, or slacking off, or you're trying to make them solve a simple math problem and it takes them forever because they weren't paying attention when the teacher was giving the lesson. The parents, we all become monsters. And I think, like I said, it's part of the whole pandemic
All right.
package.
So I think,
Like,
yeah, it makes me
you
feel
know,
better if it's happening,
it's
because sometimes I
yeah,
do
it's
that,
because of
but
that.
not flying
It's because of
slippers.
that.
No flying sunducks though.
Oh,
I'm like, I get mad. I
dude.
raise my voice. Sometimes I bang the table. I just like, and she'd be like, "Whoa!" And she'd be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, I'm just upset. Why are you not answering it?" And I'm like, "Well, I made a mistake." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." Like, so like you have that argument and whatnot, and I feel really
Yeah.
bad after, because I really, really
Yeah.
don't want to raise my voice, or
Because I mean,
just
back then
bang
when we were
table.
kids, Ice, come
It's
on.
terrible.
Especially when
I
I was in high
know.
school,
I
like,
I
your
know.
parents didn't know if you did your homework or not. They will only find out when they get your report card and they see that, okay, why are you getting all these like failing grades? Like, at least that was the case with my parents. They weren't like sit down
Well, that was the
parents like,
case.
okay, let's do your homework.
That was the case in my household. Me, my brothers, my father didn't even care. He didn't even get the report cards, because he knows that there's always bad news for the
Yeah,
three of
yeah.
us. So he would never go there. So my mom would go there, and he wouldn't even check. So it was like, well, I think it's better, or it's easier if you don't really care. Because, well, I don't know if my father cared, but to me, that's like, well, he was carefree. He wasn't really, like, well,
Yeah.
whatever. Like, I'm just not gonna go there. I don't want to embarrass myself. If you want to embarrass yourselves, fine. But you're not gonna see me in school. I'm not gonna be there. I'm not gonna be in your whatever. Any programs in school he doesn't care about, because
Yeah.
of the things
Yeah.
that we did as kids. We were
Well,
we were
let's
we
talk.
were hard
Let's
knocks.
talk about the pros and the cons. Then, since we're getting feedback from people, Jong said it's hard for everyone, the kids, the parents, absolutely. And like I said earlier, and what Jong is kind of agreeing with, or we both agree with, is that it's kind of like just learn as we go along. Like, just develop this online teaching system as we go along. Like, just my kid's school. His third year, which was he's not his third year, but his grade 3 class last year, they adopted a new system, a new online teaching system. So it comes with the software, with all the apps and all that stuff. And now they introduce another one. So it's like, in 2 years, two different systems. So now my kid, us parents, have to relearn, the whole
Right.
system, the new app, the new
They haven't
software, the
they haven't
new
mastered
whatever.
the previous system yet. Now they're introducing a new system,
Yes. Yeah,
right?
because the
So
previous
it's kind
system
of,
was like it had
it
so
defeats the
many
purpose.
loopholes. It was so bad. Like I said, like we need. I don't know if we need experts in this field to come over and help us or whatever. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure these schools are paying. These schools are doing their best, but it's learners go along.
Ah.
Last year, daghan na honor. Pahawday pen. That's right. Everybody was an honor. If you
Oh
remember,
my
if you
god!
remember
Oh my
last
god!
year, every parent that I know posted all their kids were like 90s or whatever, like all excellence awardee or whatever.
Oh, we
All
don't
their
have that
kids,
here.
like every
We don't
kid,
have that.
every kid. And I'm like last year, and I think the schools just decided pasahin mo na yan lahat or i-excellence yun na yan lahat. I mean, I understand that no kid should fail. I mean, that rule where a kid shouldn't fail because their kids are not all the same in
Wow.
terms of their
I
strengths
mean,
and
we don't have
weaknesses.
that here, and I'm already stressed out. I mean,
I know,
like
but
honor rolls and whatnot.
we failed right
Right.
nice.
Right. But
It's
yeah,
okay. We're not suicidal, entitled little brats.
yeah, that's true.
I mean,
Here in
right?
Japan, it's kind of like different because they don't have honor rolls and whatnot. Like I'm pretty sure you heard of it. Like like yeah, it's more of like, okay, you made a mistake. As long as you realize what your mistakes are, and like you get your test paper, and okay, I mean, you look at your test papers, and you're like, all right, okay, here's the part where I made a mistake, and now I understand. So that's what they're
Yeah,
actually like telling us. Like that's important. Don't get mad. Don't get upset.
yeah,
Don't get mad at your kids if
yeah.
they have like they have low scores or whatever. As long as they study and whatever, it's that, like I've heard that from teachers, I've heard that from my friends, Japanese friends, and I've heard that from kids as well. Because I'm being hard on Snow, and there was this sixth grader kid, and I was like, oh, Snow Chang got this score, and I was like, really, and she was like, dame, 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 like, no, 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 that's bad. Do not get mad at your kid. I'm like, really? And she's a sixth grader. I was like, oh, really? Like, yeah, no, no, like you never get mad at her. It's not good. Just let her be. It's fine. Whatever score she gets, it's fine. Do not get mad. Do
Th-
not.
That's 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 a whole new topic altogether, man. Like how to deal with your kid if their kid's failing. Like, should you award excellence? Should you punish, mediocrity, or should you just say it's fine? I mean, like what? I don't really know. Like, but I
I
mean,
don't.
like
Me
now with
too.
online,
We're in the
right?
same boat. I don't know how to react.
Right? We don't. So, but
Okay.
that's a topic. But
Yeah, that's
anyway,
still a
but that's a
different
good
topic.
topic for another time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maribeth, in the Philippines, it's good so that we can go forward and know what digital age means. Well, yes, and it's screwing up everybody's routine with all the new
So pros
systems
and
coming
cons.
in.
The pros and cons.
Yeah.
So okay, pros and cons. Okay, pros of online learning. I guess online schooling. Like I said, it saves gas money. It saves on the time from commute. The kids don't have to wake up super early, especially for those whose kids, like for example, if you live in Lanang and then your kid goes to Ateneo High School,
Yes, your
can
kids
you
don't get into
imagine?
fights,
Can
right?
you imagine? Yeah. Well, I actually kind of think that's part of the experience, the fighting and all that stuff. I think that that's
But they
that's
get into
kind of
fights with their
necessary
parents, so
for growth.
that's fine.
Oh, you mean the fight with the parents? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course,
No,
that
no, no,
happens all
like
the
no,
time. But
they
yeah,
don't get into fights with other kids, but they get into fights with their parents. So they're still fighting.
yeah, yeah. They're still fighting. They're still fighting. Actually, that's the thing now. It's like kids fight with their parents more than they do with the other kids. So I think
Right.
that's one of the pros of online learning. It saves in gas. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people can think of other pros. Another would be obviously the kids. They get to level up their computer savviness. They know how to operate a lot of different systems. And my kid's super super techie now. Like he knows how to work around. I mean, I hope he doesn't grow up to become a hacker, but he's not quite Jong Tuhan level yet, but he's getting there. And a lot of it is because of the learning. Now he has the old Mac. He's using the MacBook Air, so now he feels like he has ownership of something. Jong says pro, more time with the kids, absolutely. And Con, more time with the kids, absolutely.
All right. I love
That's
your
true.
comments in there, John. Really
Absolutely,
makes
that's
sense.
correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
You're 100% correct. I'm not
Both,
gonna
you're
argue with
correct
you.
on both counts.
Right.
I
Yes.
agree with you on both
All
counts.
right.
I agree with you on both counts.
Perfect.
Para kung
Perfect. Mr.
mag-opisina,
Tuhan.
marunong na gumamit ng computer. Yeah, I think and that's a basic requirement now. I mean, you have to know your way around a computer
Right.
now.
And
The
online learning
kids having
solutions
two
will be
homes
better in the
is more of a
mm,
pain.
Right. Okay. Patrick is saying online learning solutions will be better in the future. I think there are startups that are exploring on how to improve online learning experiences, like virtual whiteboards. Well, let's wait
Yeah,
for that to happen. I mean, if they have, I
yeah. Let's
mean,
wait for
if
that.
for the most part, it's more of people are not yet in the zone in terms of
No.
virtual learning. Like everybody's
Yes.
learning
Nangangapa.
as we
Nangangapa.
go along. Yes,
Yeah.
we're like
Nangangapa.
we're all grasping.
Grow
So I think
groping in the dark.
you're right. Yeah. So if we get to that point where everybody's just on the same page and everything's easy, because like we have different computers too. It's not like we all have the same computers. So one kid
Or
might be using an
internet speed.
iPad,
We have
yeah, the
different
internet speed
internet
as well.
speed.
So that is a factor then. So it's really really kind of like, yeah. So it's, yeah, we are basically in limbo right now. We don't really know what to do. All right, and other parents are
What's your
grasping
take
for
on it?
air because,
What's your
well,
take on
me,
it, Ice? I mean,
dude,
like,
I teach online. It's very difficult because like I have, okay, in terms of how I teach
as a
my
teacher, you
subject,
prefer face
yes,
to face or
because
online?
well, because
You've done
well,
both.
I
I
don't
know
know
you've
with,
done both.
I I teach English here, and the way we teach English here, it's a bit different from how we learn English there in the Philippines, right? So we need, I think,
Yeah,
on my part, it's better to be, because, dude, the sixth graders here are not like the sixth graders back home. You give an instruction in English, and they'd be like, fine. You give like a 5 minute talk, and they would absorb it. Here, you speak
yeah,
even in a normal speed, and once you talk for 3 minutes like straight, they'd be like lost, right? So that's a, so that's a factor there.
yeah,
So face to face is like you can see their reaction, you can help them out, especially with younger kids when they get bored. You can just like, all
yeah,
right, okay, let's stand up. Okay, all right, let's play whatever, because you have to keep their attention. But if you're like online and you're
yeah,
doing activities, and once they do not understand the instruction, and if there is no translator present, right? That would be really difficult because
yeah,
in the classroom sometimes you
yeah,
speak, and if the kids don't get it, like if it's only like 50% who got it and there's like 50% who didn't get it, the teachers would always like jump in and translate in Japanese, so you can do the
yeah,
activities. Like it's basically mostly communication activities, so we could do that. But then with online, I've been doing it for about a year now with, it's a private class. With the bigger kids, if you keep it simple, it's fine, it's doable. But then I'm thinking, if we are face to face, it would be much more fun. It's fun, but it would be more fun
yeah,
if like it would be crazy. It would be hilarious if we're all together in the same room. I mean, they would enjoy it, but
yeah, yeah,
I mean, because
yeah.
it's the computer, like,
I
there's
mean,
so many things that you can't do.
just doing the show, right? Like, I mean, like I said, if we were doing the show in the same studio, we would like, the flow would be more seamless because we'd know when the other one would want to talk and the other one would want to talk. Here, it's like there's kind of a delay, there's kind of latency or something. That's what it's called. But and you're there and I'm here, so you can just imagine the teaching, where you're trying to convey a message to a student and you still have that issue of trying to get the message across that they can comprehend it. Plus, you have to teach them the lesson. So it's double like double difficult for you as an instructor, and it's double
Double the
difficult
money.
for the student. Yeah, so it's tough. And I think it's something that people eventually get used to. Personally, though, as compared to teaching, if it's meetings, I prefer online. I prefer virtual meetings. I don't like, mainly because here in the Philippines, when the meeting is called, it never starts on time. And I always show up earlier. And for me, even if you think I just play video games all day, my time is precious. And apparently that's not the case for the other people involved in the meeting. So if it's online, you're fine. You can just like set your Zoom and wait for somebody to show up and you can just like go about your business at home. So I prefer it in terms of like in the workspace or us in meetings and stuff. Like if there's an event and we have a suppliers meeting, I prefer the Zoom meeting than actual face to face. It's more cost efficient too. But in learning, there are things that are better thought face to face. There are activities that can only be done face to face. There
Of
are certain
course.
emotions that can only be
THE, work
conveyed
education,
face to face.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
How
So,
will you
I
learn
think,
to
yeah.
carve those soaps? John, remember those times when we used to carve soaps? Like we would carve like an animal or whatever. Our
Do you guys
teacher
use
was Mr.
Irish
Yanto.
Spring?
Yeah,
Did
I
you
know.
use Irish Spring?
I used Perla. We didn't have enough money,
Oh,
so I would bring
oh,
Perla.
that's kind of hard because that's flat, right? Oh no, no, Perla's not flat. Perla's like a bar of soap, right? Perla's
Yeah,
like
it's
a
a bar.
bathing soap, right? Like a bath soap.
Yeah.
Is it?
No, Perla. No, it's like that the whitening soap for like laundry.
But it's not shaped like an Ajax, right? It doesn't have those
No, no,
lines.
no, no, no.
Those
That's
like
like
it.
no, 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 no,
Okay,
no, 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 no. It's like
it's just like solid lang
um
siya, solid lang.
yes, it's a rectangular type. It's like more of a rectangular cube,
So you can,
something.
yeah, so you can carve it. You can carve it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I
So
get
I
it.
yeah,
All
I
right.
think most of us did use Perla. I don't think you can use Irish
Yeah.
Spring.
Okay.
It melts
Okay.
fast, Irish Spring.
Shara says hobby, that would be Judge T, is teaching online for law schools. He adjusted well, but for students, I don't know. Okay. As for
Well,
him
Reese is
being
a
an
law
instructor,
student,
being a
so well, I don't know, Reese. Do you prefer online learning or would you want to go back to the classroom? Because Reese is, like studying law right now, and she has
you'd
online
be
classes.
surprised. You'd be surprised in terms of online learning because you can ask John this. They have workshops for guitar, and other like physical, hobbies or whatever, and they have like a master class which is online via Zoom classes, and you just pay and you get to be a part of this private class. And Jong has attended, I think, a couple or so, where I mean it's guitar, and you would imagine that that's only effective if your guitar teacher's in front of you, but they do these things via Zoom, and I think it works in some ways. I think
Well,
you have
maybe
to
they
be at a
have
certain level
skills,
already. Yeah, you have to be at a certain level of guitar proficiency maybe to join that class. I don't know, but obviously,
right?
I'm pretty sure there are beginner
I mean,
classes
if you're a
too
beginner,
where that kind of works.
I don't know, like yeah. Anyway, so Shalpud ng Irish Spring, i-carve. Yeah, I agree. Irish Spring is much more
No,
expensive
no,
than Perla.
no, 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 because in the Irish Spring commercial, there's an
I
Irish guy,
know.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, he
yeah, yeah,
sliced
yeah,
it
yeah. I
and the
remember that
thing
commercial.
squirted. So,
I
so I
know.
was just
When you
thinking maybe
mentioned
it's
that,
perfect for
that popped into
carving.
my mind. I'm like, yeah, the commercial,
Irish
of course.
Spring. All right. So
Okay.
yeah, we're talking about
Patrick was saying
online
earlier.
learning. But yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right. Patrick was saying earlier, working students for college or post grad students are in the advantage in terms of online learning since their time can be flexible. I have classmates here wherein they are not, or where they are at work while attending a lecture session. See, that's one of the pros.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's one of the pros. And it saves the instructor a lot of money. Like you don't have to rent a school or a space to unless you have your home, open your home to students. Like I said, if you want to teach um a certain workshop on a certain subject that you specialize in, like maybe we can even do like a workshop in hosting or radio DJing, I don't know, and we can do it like virtually. It could be effective.
You go to school for that. I thought it's either you can do it or you can't.
Well, obviously, yeah, there's one way to find out. I mean, with us, we learned the hard way. We had to go to a radio station and had to do it,
Yeah,
whether we
embarrass
could do it or
ourselves.
not, and find out.
Hey, I
Yeah,
want to be a
find out.
DJ. Can I do it? And people will be like, no,
Yeah,
we don't like you.
I
Get
know.
out
It's
of
like,
here.
I, dude, I think like 90%, 80% maybe, or 70% of DJs probably just like did it because they thought they could do it, and then when they did it, they realized they couldn't. But pinanindigan na lang, right?
Right,
I mean, when
right.
I first did it, I thought I could do it.
And I think for
I
the most
mean, if
part,
I
when
did,
you walk in a radio station, your fate actually depends on the guys who are at the other side of the studio, or the other side of the
yeah,
glass. The moment you
yeah,
walk
yeah.
in, they've already decided, no, no. I've done that. I went to a lot of radio stations, and yeah, you could feel it.
Why?
And
Because of your physical, what? Your looks? The
probably,
way you
I don't know.
talk?
It could be like your aura, whatever. It has always been a no,
Well, that's
no,
the wrong
no,
way. That's
no,
that's
no.
not that's the Filipino way. Maybe that's the Davao
Probably
way. I don't
yes.
know, but that's not how it should be. I mean, if professionally, that's how it should be done. All right. So Gab says I can imagine him jokingly screaming, "I love Chubby." We had coffee art in our humanities class back in college. So yeah, what are the cons then of
What's a
online learning?
coffee art? What's a coffee art?
You spill coffee on your paper and then like you go like this.
I mean, we had coffee art in our humanities class back in college. What is coffee art? I do not know that.
Heck, I don't know, man. I mean,
The schools there in the Philippines
um,
have reduced school fees, like miscellaneous fees, being waived because students are not in school. Like Rod
nope,
said,
we're paying the same,
the same
same,
tuition, and there's even
same
like a
tuition,
friend who has like a tuition is like tripled. So,
like triple, yeah,
ah,
like
no.
triple of my kids' tuition. And they don't have Zoom meetings with the teacher. They don't have Zoom classes. They just like have at the end of the week. So he was so pissed off. So I don't think he's enrolling next year
All right.
in
Okay. The
that
way I
same
see
school.
it, according to John, the length of time for the class is tricky. If it's too long, you lose the kid's interest. If it's too short, you don't learn anything. We need something in the middle. But I think CHED or DepEd still require a minimum number of hours for each subject. I could be wrong. Well, yeah, you have a point. Yeah, too long. Yeah, it's like they'd lose interest and they'd be tired. If it's too short, they won't learn anything. I agree with that because same with my online classes. I have to make a decision. It's a it's a personal call. Should I like end it or should I just like like if the kids are having fun, I try to like push it until like up to
You're
40
not
minutes.
paid by
But
the hour, Ice. For the online
no,
teaching, it's not. You're not.
no with this private class, I get paid by the hour by the person who hired me because
So you have to.
the thing is
You
I,
can't go less than an hour,
no, like my classes
or
are supposed to
you can
be
spread it out. Can you spread it out
no,
like
I'm
30
at the
minutes and then
clinic.
30 minutes?
No, like I'm at the clinic from 10 to 12, but my classes starts at 10:30 and 11:30. So I get to the clinic at 10, then I wait until 10:30, then I have my first class. Now these are small kids. They're like preschool up to 6 years old. So these kids, the ideal should be actually the ideal is 20 minutes with these kids because their
Okay.
attention is attention span is like really short. So 20 minutes is the ideal. But then I do 30 minutes. But then sometimes yeah, it's so hard. So 20 25 minutes I end it if they're just like if they're just not paying attention anymore. But with the bigger kids, like the ones who are in second grade, third, fourth, fifth grade, um, yeah, 40 minutes is fine. But there are times that if the topic is a bit difficult, so kind of like keep it to 30 minutes. But for the most part, they can do 40 minutes. So it's more of like you try to get the feel because yeah, you can see it in their faces. Sometimes they
Yeah,
disappear.
they're
I'm like,
starting to
oh,
get bored. They're
yeah,
tapping the table.
yes, 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 yes. And the parents are like, like I think they're like silently screaming because you can see their faces,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure the parents are like,
Yeah. I'm paying a lot for that. I'm paying that Iceman a lot of money, and you better pay attention.
no, it's
Because so
actually
far
free for them. The
you only
doctor's
know how to
paying
say
me.
hello. Oh, it's
No, this is
free.
free. It's free for them. The doctor's
It's
paying
free for
me.
the parents.
It's
Okay.
it's a
Okay. All
doctor's
right.
thing, like he
All
gives
right.
free lessons to his patients and whatnot. So the doctor's paying me. They don't pay
Oh,
anything.
that's
That's
cool.
that's totally free for them.
That's
So, but they're
cool.
screaming in terms of like,
But
you have to learn something.
yeah, yeah, that's cool. Because I mean, at least the pressure is not that bad. Because I mean, it's not
Mm,
like
mm, uh.
I mean, it's like a special treat by the doctor. It's not like the parents are soliciting you for your service
Yes,
and
yeah. So
paying
I'm
you an
also
exorbitant
not
amount of money.
in that sort of position where I'm so stressed out that they don't learn anything because, I mean, I can't push them that hard
Yeah,
because it's a free
yeah, yeah,
lesson.
yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm
It's
saying?
like
If I push
optional.
them too
Yeah,
hard, they don't
yeah.
enjoy, then they don't come back. So I have to keep
That's
them
true.
coming back because I mean, the doctor might
That's
be like,
true.
"Why are they not coming back? Are you like scaring them? Are you like, are you
You know,
not teaching them
I,
properly?"
I'm surprised that they still have that. Like, I mean, I'm glad that you still have that because at least you still have a way to earn. But like, there's so many stuff on YouTube that these Japanese kids can learn English from. That's like totally free. Like, there's like guys that dress up and teach English. I mean, you can learn an entire grammar,
No, no,
whatever.
no. But
Like,
but the thing is, they can't
but
they can't handle that because there's no stops there. I mean, you can pause or whatever, but they
that's true.
Japanese really prefers like interaction.
A pace, like a
Like
certain pace.
yeah,
Okay,
like they
not
need
just a
that,
show.
not just a show. Like even with the
Okay.
online, I think they're like sold out on that. Like, I mean, I don't think they're sold on the idea of like having online classes, but because it's a pandemic, they're trying to do it. But
Mhm.
Japanese, they're like hardcore traditional. They would want to have like the like face to face human contact, but because of the pandemic, they're being forced into this situation. So yeah, I think they're even excited because the vaccine's already out. Everybody's like dying to get back to normal here. Okay,
Yeah,
we got
yeah.
like I guess the white what's this? The white fourth like stuff on top of classic coffee shops. Is that what it like? What the coffee art? I was asking about that. Is this what it
Oh,
is?
like the frap or the cappuccino, right? Yeah, they put a leaf, like they put like a leaf
Ah,
with
okay,
the
okay, okay,
froth,
okay.
with the,
Yeah, I go
you know what I'm saying,
to this
the
restaurant
foam
here
art.
in
Yeah,
in my city. They have that like coffee art like
that's the
on top.
coffee
Like
art. Yeah,
they make panda
yes.
faces,
They can even put your
tiger,
picture there.
lion.
Like they can put your
Yeah, yeah.
face there. Like
They
there's a way
put a
that they can do
heart.
that. There's a machine that apparently does that. They can put your
Right. So
face. It's
yeah,
the
that's the thing. Yeah,
interaction. Yeah, you're right, John. I agree. I think that's it. Is that the one, Patrick? Coffee art. You know, like when they put a leaf using
yeah. And it pisses me off
the
too because
froth.
me and my wife we go to this restaurant. And then I go there. I ask for a coffee, and they put like they put a leaf or something or a panda. Then my wife goes to get the coffee. The guy puts a heart. Oh, I'm sorry, nice.
Ah,
Oh,
okay.
you're a ladies' man, huh?
Yeah,
You
just
barista,
a leaf
you
for you. It's a
a
heart
leaf
for
for me
her.
and a heart for my wife.
Why you want a heart from a guy barista? Come on, man. I wouldn't
No,
want
I
a
was just
heart
like,
from a guy.
oh man. I mean, those moves. Yeah, I'm like, come on. I'm with my wife. Come on,
Yeah, that's a
man.
move. That's a move. That's certainly a move.
All right, okay. What that should be waived though. That's unfair. Okay, this is for you, Rod. Like, oh, it's unfair. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
all the parents are paying
it's a tuition.
their
The
schools the
tuition.
same tuition. It's the
Yeah. Plus,
interaction,
think
Rod.
about this.
Even if
Think
it's
think how much
school
schools are
curriculum. I think
saving
it is
from
especially.
online classes. Schools are like the facilities, right? They don't even need to hire a security guard. Like the facilities, it's not being used, right? The
I
classrooms,
think they've
the
laid off a lot of
electricity.
people too,
They've laid
right?
off a lot of people. I'm sure
But
that
you're still paying the
electricity. I
same
mean,
thing.
they're saving up
That
on
is
electricity.
terrible.
The classrooms, which are air conditioned, they're not, and they're charging the same tuition. Like I said, the classrooms are not air
Yeah. If
conditioned.
anything, they shouldn't be
Are
laying
no
off people
longer.
because
I
those
mean, they
people
are
need
air
their
conditioned,
jobs.
but they're just imagine this the savings they have on electricity. But I think, but then again, of course, they have to save. They have to spend on the app, on the new software, or the whatever thing that they're using now, the system, the teaching system that they're using now. They obviously have to pay for that too. But I mean, I'm not even thinking about that. I just want my kid
Okay.
to learn. You know, I just
Okay.
want him to
So
learn
here's a
enough
question
at
for all
least
the
for the school
parents:
year.
the craziest experience you had with this online learning thing. I mean, and have you been silently screaming your kid in front? Like I mean, not in like the camera's way. You'd be like just somewhere behind the camera, and you'd be like screaming, like anything crazy. Have you like that
The
eraser
craziest,
flying? Yeah. Yeah, like erasers
um,
flying or pencils flying, and the
okay.
teacher saw it. Like, oh, what was
Here's one
that?
I
A
heard.
flying eraser?
This is not from our end. I hope it wasn't me that they were referring to because I don't recall doing it. But this the my son's school has required them to have like a green screen now as a background. But before they didn't, as long as they're in a room or something, and it's not noisy. Now a green screen has been required because apparently there was an incident where a dad was seen in the background running in his underwear. So, um, you know, I hope I wasn't that dad because I mean, my kid doesn't really do his class in the bedroom. He does it in the, you know.
Was he doing some dance moves
I hope that wasn't me,
on his underwear?
but but apparently a dad was like spotted running, in the background wearing only his underwear. So now a green screen has been required. So I think that's pretty funny. But that's pretty funny. But personally, with my kid, the most is probably like my wife or myself. We'd be overheard in the background, like making libak other people, and my kid like forgets to mute the mic. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, like he's like when he's in Zoom class, he has the option to mute his mic, and then he just unmutes it so he can participate in class. And there would
It
be
should be
times when we
muted, I
forget that our
think.
kid is already in. Yeah, yeah, but I mean, it's sometimes, yeah, and apparently, like my kid's about to maybe answer a question
All
or
right, okay,
something,
so
or he
he had
forgets
muted
to
it,
mute
and
it.
all of a sudden you
Yeah,
started screaming
yeah.
at someone
Then,
or
like my wife
something.
and I would be like talking about other people or something in the background. I don't know. Like,
Right,
that's what
right.
couples do. They buck other people. I'm sure other couples do that too. So, anyways, like we do that. Like we find out that and it's a good thing that it wasn't somebody. I'm
Okay, here's a
hoping it
good
wasn't
one.
somebody
Here's a
from my
good
kid's
one.
school.
Talking about crazy. there is this trending post right now wherein there is an Ateneo grade 9 student caught masturbating during an online class. What the heck?
Okay.
Was it
Is
true?
this true? Because I mean,
Was the
I
kid
don't want
actually
to.
masturbating?
I mean, are you talking about like Davao? Because I mean, I don't want this to be like another case of that kid who got bullied in school because we had a talk show and that kid was like mentioned stuff. I mean, we don't want the parent to get on our case because of this. So I don't really want to elaborate on this too much because obviously if it was your
Was
kid,
it
you
a
wouldn't want
case
that kid to
of
be
the kid?
you know.
Okay, all right. Patrick's trying to find a post, but it could be that it could be the context that the kid did not log out, and like supposed to be the session's over. Then he started going on those, I don't know, websites and started masturbating.
I
That
mean, he's
that could be
grade
the case.
9. That's like normal, but it's not. You shouldn't be doing it in your class.
It's
I mean,
normal
but again,
in,
like I
yeah,
said,
personally, yeah, I would agree.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
do it
it is
alone.
normal, right? It's
Do
not
it
like he's a
alone.
weird kid for
Or if you want
doing
to do
it.
it with
Come
your
on, he's grade
friends, that's
9.
fine. If you want to do it with
I
your
know, I
friends,
know.
your guy friends, you wanna do a
Yeah.
race or whatever, well, that's fine. But don't do it online, where your classmates can see it. Like everybody's there, your teacher as well.
Okay, here's
And
the
it
thing.
gets
How do
posted
these
on
things? How
Facebook.
do
That's
these things
crazy.
go viral? Did people just
I
put it
don't
on
know,
Facebook?
man.
But don't people get sued for posting that? I
Oh,
mean,
Jepoy, we're so
um,
sorry. He can't relate, man. He doesn't have kids.
why are you sorry? You should be happy for him.
Yeah, right. Jepoy, if you can't relate
He
to
does-
this topic, that means you're living the life, man. You are living
Yeah,
the life. You are the man. You are the man.
yeah. You're like, you're good. You're good. You don't have to worry about these things. I mean, worry to enroll your kids and all that stuff. I
Adu
mean, where do you
did
get the
put out a
money to
word
enroll
to
your
not
kids?
jack off. Were those one of the
Dude,
hang on,
for
Rod? Were those one of the requests from the school? Green screen and no masturbating during
real.
class.
I think that's kind of a given. I think that's kind of a given. But it gets boring, I get the kid. I mean, what do guys do when they're bored, right? Yeah. I mean, you spank the monkey, right? You slap the salami.
Yes.
That's basically what you do. But Patrick, you don't have to find the post, man. It's okay. I mean, it's we've all done it. We know what it's about. All right. So pros and cons about online and face to face. Okay. What's a con? Okay, I've already mentioned the con of face to face. It's obviously the commute to and from school. Um yeah, to and from school. So I don't that's I'm not a fan of the commute to and from school. So a lot of parents, I'm sure, are kind of relieved with that because especially yung mga sundo, yung mga parents that they have to pick up their kids. Okay, here's the question though, because some parents, the school becomes like a daycare. You drop off your kid at school, you don't have to pick them up till afternoon, so you can go to work and do your thing. And that happens a lot in my kid's school because I see a lot of the parents there are either single parents or they don't have a yaya, and sometimes the kids there are left on not picked up until like much later. And the school actually said, the kids have to be picked up by a certain time because there are kids there that actually, remain not picked up by parents until like 6 p.m. Because the parents are probably busy with work. But what happens then? You just leave your kids at home when you have to go to work and there's no yaya and there's no one there with them. I guess that's how it works. Rather than leave them in school where you'd think that they're safer and you have a teacher to supervise. Pro, according to all right, Carl, he says can help the kids answer, and then can help the kids answer makasaban pag mali. Okay, yeah, that's a pro, but that can also be a con, in a sense that magsalig ang bata. Like the kid doesn't even exert effort anymore. The kid, there was actually an instance where my wifey and my son got in a fight because my kid was asking for help because it's Filipino. Every time it's Filipino, he just doesn't know anything. Like and we don't know anything either. I mean, if you pay attention to Filipino classes, like what the heck are all these things? Like I don't know what the man, I don't even know what the terms are that they use in
Pang
Filipino, so
diwa,
I can't help him.
pang abay.
Yeah, yung mga stuff, whatever, anything with a pun. I mean, I don't understand anything. So it's
I was
like
good in Filipino.
but I suck at Filipino, man, and my wife too. So every time he's in Filipino and he's asking us for to help him out, it's like we have to Google, we have to like figure out what the heck this is about. Like we have to relearn for him, and he gets mad at us for not giving him the answer right away. So we had a big fight with my wifey over Filipino, and I speak Tagalog, I speak Bisaya, I understand Ilocano and all that stuff, but I don't know the technicalities of the language, and I don't really know if it's
Yeah,
certain
plus you talk
necessary.
to Raj in English most of the time, so yeah, that doesn't help either with his
Yeah,
Filipino.
yeah,
Because my cousin's
yeah. But
in
I
the
mean, if it's
same situation. Like she had a kid and she was brilliant, but when it comes to Filipino, she was failing because
wala.
everybody just talks to her in
No,
English.
no, but I mean, if it's just Tagalog, Raj will know. Like Raj understands basic Tagalog words and their meanings, but the actual like technicalities of like God, I can't even think of what the terms are that you have to define or come up with. Filipino is the only subject that I prepare for during exams. Filipino is also the subject where I get the lowest grade. Well, get the lowest grade. See, that something's wrong here, right?
You know
Something's
what helped
wrong
me with my
here.
Filipino back in the day was I read a lot of comics, like those comics, like sports
Um,
comics, horror comics, those like traditional comics that we had. It helped me a
yeah,
lot with my
but it
vocabulary
doesn't
and
tell you. It
well, yeah,
doesn't
but
tell you
then
what those
you have all
are.
these.
Like
Well, but then
pambalana. Like what types of pambalana, man? I don't types of
well,
pambalana. I
yeah,
don't know what
well,
that is.
those are like just like the rules and whatnot. But then you have probably encountered them somewhere at some point if you keep on reading
Yeah,
on these like Filipino materials and
comics.
whatnot. So it's the same with like
Patrick's
English. When we
asking.
read a lot, if you're a wide reader, it helps you a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not also good with all the technicalities of the English language either. I just speak English and read English, but with the grammar stuff, I don't. I can't be a good English teacher. Rod says, Rod said, Patrick says, Rod, does your kid have the mother tongue subject? No, he doesn't. If you're referring to like the Cebuano or Bisaya or something, no, they don't have that. They just have
Well, we never
Filipino.
learned that.
They,
Like
they have that in public
I didn't have any
schools. There are some
Cebuano
schools that have that.
subjects.
Yeah, there are some schools now that require that. Like, that's even tougher, I think, because it's probably like malalim na Bisaya. Like we speak Bisaya, but
I
like
can't
I
read
said,
Bisaya. It would take me ages to read
to read
Bisaya.
Bisaya. Yeah, I
And
mean,
Tagalog Bisaya,
yeah,
I would prefer Tagalog, but if you have to make me choose between Tagalog and English, I would go for English. Like reading wise,
yeah,
it would be easier for me to read in
yeah. Me
English
too.
than to
Me
read in
too. I
Filipino.
there are
But
Tagalog
if it's
words that I
comics,
probably
Filipino
pronounce
all the
funny.
way.
Yeah, I think we pronounce it funny, man. Sometimes when we read Tagalog, because we're not like Manileños, right?
Right?
So we have a certain like Davao Tagalog that sometimes people make fun of the way we pronounce certain words um that are Tagalog words, and we're not, like I'm not
Well, it's
Tagalog.
just it's a skill. I'm pretty sure that if you really want to speak their accent, I mean, you can. Like when I went to Manila and
yeah.
stayed
You live
there,
in Manila.
I did try to like speak it the way they speak, and they'd be like, "Oh, but wala kang punto ice." I know I wasn't ice back then. Oh, Al, but wala kang punto. Ah, ganun ba? I'm like, well, you just have to like, you know. And they're like,
Ang
and
yapang
they're
mo,
like
Dre.
people. And I have this friend from
Hindot.
I have I have friends from Davao as well who went there. There's this guy from Tagum who had a really thick accent. So every time he would speak Tagalog, they would be laughing and whatnot. And
They
I'm like,
bully him. Yeah, they bully him.
and they
Yeah.
don't really bully him, but they just like, oh, we could recognize the accent, and they're just like, why are you not speaking the same way he's speaking? I'm like, well, we're kind of different. It's the same thing. Like like people have accents, and he has that. I don't.
I
I'm
got
skilled in
bullied a
that
lot.
area.
I got bullied a lot. Because I go to Manila every summer when I was a kid, for to see my dad.
You never get the
And my
hang of it,
uncle's
like
there.
speaking the
My uncle's in
speaking in the Manila
Providence.
way.
No, man, because we don't only stay there for a month, only for summer vacation. And so I don't, and they always bully us. They always bully us for the good and the
So
gani and
what
all
like
that stuff. Like, oh, andito na naman si good at si gani, andito na naman si but now it's fine. Like if I'm there, I hop on a taxi from the airport, I switch to my Manila Tagalog. Oh, manong, something ano. You try to do that just to make sure that, and then you realize that the driver is actually from Davao. Taga saan ka
ay
pala,
sir, saan po
manong?
kayo papunta sir? I'm like ay
Taga
Bisaya din ka
Turil,
daw.
mangyug ko. Sa mukha ni mo nung, oy, ng kamot patag. I mean, that's just how it is, Um, I mean, I don't think I'm a better person because I speak better Tagalog. That I definitely don't define myself as such. It's just that you kind of want to blend in, like you don't want to stay. Even when you go to a foreign country, you try to say the common words like as
Read this,
authentically as
Shirley.
possible.
Shirley.
Go.
No, you
Pengi
read it.
100. What? Pengi 100?
Pahingi 100. Wanan.
Pambili nga po
100.
ng meron po ba kayong pampalit ng 100? It's different in Manila too, because like the Bulaqueños, their Tagalog's really, really different. Like their Tagalog is so distinct. The Bulaqueño Tagalog. I think it's the home of the real Tagalog. Like if you really want to hear like the Tagalog, then Bisaya driver namin. Yeah. That's just how it is. That's how it is in Manila. A lot of the taxi drivers
100.
are actually Bisaya. Yeah, pengi 100. Um, Okay, so we're still talking about the face to face and the online teaching. Batangueños have the alae.
Ala
Yeah,
eh.
that's is that Dencho Padilla? Was
Ala
it
eh.
Dencho Padilla who's Batangueño? Alae. Oh no, the Kapitenyo Batangueño nga. That's Derek Martinez.
Kabitenyo. Batanggenyong kabitenyo.
What's his name?
Leo Martinez.
Leo
Yeah.
Martinez. Does he say alae?
Ala eh.
Alae? Yeah. I think he does. I think he does. No. Yeah, Batangueño, yes. Batangas is the one that says alae. Bulaqueño is different. Bulacan is just Tagalog, but it's just the way they talk. Like I had this classmate in engineering when he came to Davao to study in Ateneo. I think he got kicked out of ADM, so he studied in Ateneo de Davao, and he was my classmate in first year engineering. And whenever we talk to him, and we would converse, and it's like in Bisaya, he doesn't understand. So he'd always say like, "Tena naman, mas masarap pa magbanyo kaysa kausap kayo." Like he'd always come up with lines like that. It's like, mas masarap pa magbanyo. I'm like, it's like it's such a Tagalog. It's such a Tagalog humor like statement that we don't get it. Like if you listen, like, "Oh, masarap pa magbanyo." It's like you'd rather take a crap. Like you'd rather take a crap than listen to us because he doesn't understand anything. So yeah, I think Bulacan is like one of the old, because of their old rich history. Their Tagalog is kind of retained. The people in Mekawayan specifically. Like me switching to Cebuano Bisaya when I arrive in Cebu, because Davao Bisaya is funny in Cebu.
It is. It is. We
Yeah,
say pabalot.
I would assume.
We should say paputos, right? They like before.
Yeah.
I was with my Cebuano friends in Manila when like I did that pharmaceutical thing. I had that pharmaceutical stint, so we were at training, and I'd be hanging out with these kids from Cebu, and one of the girls there one time told me like
Mhm.
al barog. I'm like, what? Like barog ba barog? Like what? Stand. And she was like stand. Okay, all right. Tindog. But they would
Barug
say
Barug is
barog.
stand.
Yeah, you stand. Tindog. For us, it's like tindog diha. So like barog.
So
with
where is
us,
our
barog is like
Bisaya
barog.
from? If it's
Posture, yeah.
so, where's our Bisaya from?
I think Chada
The
is
Davao
Chada
Bisaya,
is
like
like
Tindog. Where is Tindog from?
Cagayan. That's Hilagaynon, Chada. That's Hilagaynon. Or Barug
Like
move. Yeah,
Tindog,
that
where
could
is
be
it from?
Like I don't know. It could be like a Davao Bisaya. It could be I don't know.
Yeah, Tindog. It's a thin dog.
And they like to say ate,
Barog is
ataya. Like they like saying that.
You know what I would always hear in Cebu?
And kuno.
Aida.
They'd say kuno.
They always say Aida. Who takes Aida, man? Aida.
Is the next line Lorna?
That come up.
Then the next one is Fe.
Lorna. Fe.
Si Aida.
Lantau.
Si Lorna.
Lantau, right? That's Cebu.
Lantau is like look, yeah. Is
Yeah,
that what it is? Look, tanaw.
No,
and we
there's
say
a
tanaw.
restaurant in Cebu that we ate at. It was called Lantau Grill. Davao Bisaya is a mix of Tagalog, Bisaya, and Hiligaynon. Okay. All right. Yeah, we do have a little bit of Tagalog. Bitaw. Ano bitaw yan siya? Yeah, it's true. That's basically the Tagalog way of, it's Tagalog. I mean, the Filipino, the Davao way of speaking. And Anyway, we don't have. I'm just glad we don't have mother tongue because I mean, my it would drive us nuts if we had Filipino and then we had mother tongue. Oh my god, my kid will fail two subjects. In Cebu, sakit akong uo. In Davao, labad talaga ng ulo ko.
Labad talaga ng ulo ko.
No, no,
Nalibog
no,
naman
we
ako
was
sa'yo
just
dun.
no, was just say labad akong ulo. Labad, was just say labad, labad talaga ang ulo ko. Patrick, you're so
Kaya nga
social, man.
nalibog naman ako doon.
Labad talaga ng ulo ko. Na Davao
The
Konyo.
Davao Conyo. Yes, we have that
Ang
here.
labad talaga ng ulo ko.
Davao Conyos. Oh my God.
Okay. Sakit akong uo. Uo. Like, I don't think they say L in Cebu. Do they say L? The
Yeah,
Davao
they would say
Konyo.
L.
Okay.
Bicycle. Tricycle. Buko.
Ice
Bukel.
bukol.
You know that story, the na bukel ko? Oh man, that story from, when you were a kid. Oh man.
Pinapawisan ako ng maraming singot. Okay, all right. So where were we? Pros and cons.
Okay,
Funny ka man,
let's
oy.
Online learning versus conventional face-to-face learning. Tell us your thoughts, experiences, students, pros and cons. All right, we're talking about yeah, we drifted because of the what do you call that,
Would it
the
have
mother
worked,
tongue
guys,
subject.
during our time? Would it have
What?
worked during our time? Online learning, if it existed back then?
I probably
Online
not.
learning.
Like
You
even
don't
now
think it would work?
I'm still hesitant and I'm skeptic. I'm one of the skeptics with this online thing. Like I'm pretty sure it's a good idea. I mean, if somebody can figure it out and if
Yeah.
somebody can make that, like the particular system for online learning and it works, uh, it works wonders. And then like that would be fine with me. But right now I'm still a skeptic because I'm from a generation where
I
we
think,
learn
yeah,
things in the classroom. So I'm
in
still
the
in that
classroom.
zone
I
up
think it
until now.
works.
Yeah.
I think online learning works if it's voluntary. Like if you want to. If it's mandatory, it doesn't. Like for example, if I wanted to learn a skill, like Steven Spielberg will have a master class in directing and photography or no videography or something, and I'm really into that stuff. Like sure, or a master watchmaker will teach the intricacies of horology in his 2 hour webinar. Yeah, sure. You have my full attention. I'm paying for it. I'm going to watch it. I will learn, as much as I can possibly absorb via Zoom class. But if it's like a requirement, like if it's mandatory, like everybody has to attend this meeting, everybody has to attend this class, and you're sitting there and you're at the comfort of your own home, and like I said, you have all the distractions. You can literally like mute the freaking thing and not hear a word. Then that requires a certain approach, like what you said, to make it interesting,
Hmm.
to hold people's interest. But if it's something that people want and voluntarily attend, then it works, I think. But like in when it comes to classes, like kids being awakened and then being told, like, do kids even take a bath in the morning anymore? I still bathe my kid. I mean, I think that's something some parents don't do anymore because they wake up their kids too late and they think, okay, nasa bahay naman, lagyan mo lang ng gel yan, o suklayan mo lang yan, okay na yan. No, I bathe my kid because it wakes him up. It makes him feel like he still has to go to school. Last year, during the first year of online schooling, they didn't have a uniform. They were not required to wear a uniform. They just had to wear decent clothes. And this year they implemented that, so they have to wear uniform. They even have an ID. They still have an ID, and I think that's a good move by the school because it helps kind of simulate the classroom and the school setting for the kids. It makes them feel like they're still going to school because they still have to wear uniform. They still have to wear
But
the
they're not.
ID.
That's the thing. They're not.
They're not, but it helps. Like I said, it helps. Whatever works. Like
If I'm the
whatever
kid, I'd be
works. I
like, "What's
mean,
the point of this ID? They can't even see it. Not unless
exactly,
they're like, you have this ID right
exactly.
over here."
Exactly, but you don't give in to what the kids say, man. I mean, you kind of want to help them out, because I mean, if they're gonna go to school in their pajamas, it's not
See,
gonna make the
that's the
process
thing.
any
See,
easier.
that's the thing where I
It's
have
not
a
gonna make it any
problem.
easier.
It's not going all the way. If it's like online, then let's do it online. Online that makes sense. Like if you're going to do things with like, oh, you have an ID, it doesn't make sense to have an ID. What's the point of having an ID? Oh yeah, so that you have the classroom feel. Then let's go back to the classrooms. Why do we have to pretend that we're in a classroom? Let's go back to the classroom. Then if they like,
No, no, but
if
it's I mean, like I said, it's a work in progress. They're still experimenting on it. I mean, like we don't know. We don't know how the kids are dealing with it. We don't know what works with the kids. We don't know if the classes should be 10 minutes or 10 hours. So I think that's just part of it. And then if it doesn't work, then next
oh
year,
yeah, I get triggered
maybe
with
the
these
parents and
things.
the teachers can maybe the parents and teachers can talk about it, and then the parents can say it's pointless to have an ID. But I don't mind it because they're not charging me extra for it, and I'm paying anyway. So might as well get that as an extra thing, and it's kind of a remembrance for that school year too. Regardless. And you have at least something that still shows your kids. I mean, I really don't get the,
No
like I
school
said,
has
obviously it's
thought of
pointless.
like, yeah, but then you can't do it because of the way the government is dealing with it. Because like others would like when people are working, they'd be like, okay, let's have like 4 days of you know work at home. Then one day you report to the office. No school. Well, you told me there was this school that has like a face to face class. Yeah, so you can do
The
face to face
what?
class there. Like there's a school there that's doing face to
Yeah,
face
yeah,
class
there
in the
are.
town.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
mean,
okay, so
there. I don't. Not very many. I don't know of very many. I think like with Lay's kid, I think it's one on one. So maybe in that case, if it's a very small school and it's only like prep or something, nursery, then yeah. But yeah, it says I don't have classmates present. It really helped him. But one on one. See, he doesn't have classmates, so it's kind of like just to help him be more attentive because the teacher's there, I guess. But in my kid's school, there's no face to face, and in
another
most
pro in the
schools,
face
I
to
don't
face
think face to
classes,
face.
it's barcada, right?
Uyab uyab,
Barcada is yeah.
barkada and uyab
Well,
uyab.
9 years old.
Yeah, but
Um,
man, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. My kids they already have their cool group. They already have the dorky group. They already have the kids.
okay, I'm gonna
There's a
ask you,
lot of
Rod.
bullying involved already.
Do you agree with Gabby when he says barcada may not be a pro if you're the parent? Like me, I would want my kid to have a barcada. I would want Snow Chang to have
Yes, of
barcada.
course. Absolutely. I
I
mean,
don't want him to
you
be
know
like
how
I'm a barcadista. I want her to have her own barcada. Like
yes,
I want
of
her to have her
course.
friends.
You know how happy we were as parents to have Basti and his cousins like, call out my son's name in the gate. Because I mean, finally normal kids. I mean, we've always had kids in the neighborhood, but the kids in this
They're not
neighborhood are not
normal.
like the normal kids. They're not. They're like they all have
Not
yayas.
not
They all
not
have
not the way we were, right? Not the way we were when we
no,
were
not the
growing
way
up.
we were. No,
Of
no,
course,
not the
yes.
daredevil bicycle
I got
riding
that. Yeah.
kids. So I'm like,
Raj,
and the best
Raj,
part was
Raj.
yeah, right, yeah, they're all like outside. And the best part was, Raj was so excited. Like I thought he was gonna be like I don't want to hang out with them. Like I just want to play here. No, he was excited. Like he went out, he faced up, talked to them. It's like he now learned to ride a bike because he felt pressured to join those kids. And yes, I
That's
would want
good.
my kid to have
That's
a
good.
barcada, man. Of course. Because it means the kids that don't have the barcada, they're the ones that like go crazy. They're the ones that, you know, um, they don't have an outlet, and
True.
that stuff,
True.
that stuff, that stuff. What's that stuff? So I
If it
don't
is
mind
college, it is a pro.
as long as yeah, for the younger ones, probably not. Yeah, I think as long as he's like not the one that gets easily influenced. Like I wouldn't mind if he was the one that would influence them, rather than him being the follower.
That's true. That's true. Because
Because
like for example, in my case,
y-
like my barcadas did a lot of crazy things back in the day, right? I never did anything of those, and they respected me. So I think it really depends on like on the person, like how
yeah,
strong you are to say no
I think
to certain things.
we're kind of the same, man. We're kind of the same. Though I think Jetway would disagree. Jetway would probably say, "Yeah, Rod did all the crazy things." Yeah, I did, but I never got in trouble. Like I did everything. I mean, but I didn't get anybody pregnant. I mean, I didn't go to rehab or jail for drugs.
That's true.
I never shot anybody. I never got in a big fight where we had to be taken to the police station and settle things. I never stole anything or reported to have stolen anything. So we're the same way. And like most of my friends own guns. Most of my friends have been to jail. Most of my friends,
Scary.
so yeah, but so it just goes to show you not just because but what's scary though, and the risk that we took. I don't know with you, but the risk I took was like I I mean, imagine being in the same car as somebody who was carrying drugs or an unlicensed firearm. If we were in the same vehicle, let's say it was my car and I was like with Jepoy and he was carrying around a revolver and it was unlicensed, and that gun was traced to have shot somebody or used in murder or something, and he was in my car, that does not, I can't get away scot free. I would be included in that. I would be booked too, I think. I mean, I don't really know exactly how these laws work, but assuming it's in my car and illegal contraband is found in my vehicle, whether it was mine or my friends, damay na ako doon. Pareho kami dadalhin sa presinto, pareho kaming pupuntahan ng lola ko, tutubusin, whatever, and I'm just glad I got away with that, So I think for some people will say, oh, just because masama yung barkada na anak mo, hindi naman masama yung anak mo. Yes, that's a given. Okay, your kid's a good kid. But what if your kid was in the wrong place at the wrong time? What if your kid's friends went to a drug den and and they were just supposed to go there to pick up something, and your son was with those friends of his, and he had nothing to do with it. Like, he totally never took drugs in his life. He's a good kid, whatever. Boom, na damay. Napanood mo na lang sa TV Patrol, ni raid yung damay yung anak mo. I mean, are you gonna be the parent who's gonna be saying on Facebook, "Di damay anak ko, malinis"? No, everybody's gonna be talking about your kid. Everybody's gonna assume he's a freaking addict. Everybody's gonna freaking assume he's a criminal. So I think it's justifiable for parents to fear, the kind of people that your kids hang out with. It's not necessarily because they have an influence on your child. It's just because baka madama yung anak mo, you know, wrong place, wrong time. And that's happened many times, I'm sure. And you wouldn't want that. I choose my barkada well. I'd rather be friends with some people who are beneficial, aka group studies, and as long as you're in the good crowd, being in a barkada is a good experience. I
True.
absolutely agree. Absolutely. And as long as you know your limits, like, you don't make them out to be your life. I have friends who stopped schooling, devoted their time to their barkada. I have friends that ran away from home, nakitira sa
Yeah, the good thing
barkada.
about
I
it though,
mean,
the
I
good thing
get
about
it,
it though with barcadas. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. You were saying?
Yeah, go. No, 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 go.
All right.
I was gonna hear you out.
Okay.
No, I was
The
gonna
good
hear you
thing
out.
about
I'm done.
barcadas,
I was done.
I was like, all right. The good thing about barcadas though is
What the
that
heck
you
was
can
that? I was
choose
like,
your barcada. I know it was like, is there a ghost to pass by? I know.
an,
The good thing
an
about
angel
barcadas though
flew.
is
An angel flew.
an angel flew. I'm like, right. Okay.
You
Like
know
I
that
said,
what movie that's from? An angel
yeah,
flew.
what Casper? No,
I don't know.
angel
There's
flew
a
by.
something. There's a show that has that. Okay,
Angels,
anyway,
like
yeah,
the
you can
angels
choose
with the
your barkada.
baseball.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like
Okay.
they all stopped talking at the same time, and then somebody said an angel flew by.
Flew.
Because that's di ba, yung like everybody's talking, and everybody stops at the same time. Supposedly an angel passed by or something. So anyway, I know what you're
All
gonna
right.
say.
So
The barkada you can choose. The family you can't.
right, yeah. So that's a good thing about barcadas. Like you can choose your barcada. Like everybody's like freaking out with like, ah, yeah, yeah. But the thing is, you can choose your barcada. Like barcada doesn't mean
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't mean it's bad. It's negative. No, like barcadas can be good. Barcadas can be bad. And the good news
Yeah,
about
yeah,
it
yeah,
is that you can choose who you want to be with, who you can hang out with, right? Like so, these
yeah.
people that I hung out with back then were the people that I knew way back since we were in high school. Then when we got to college, we're still together, and some of them started doing things that I don't really approve of, but I don't judge them for that. Um, I just don't go when they're doing those things. I'm like, all right, if you're going to do that shit, I'm like, no, I'm out. All right, I'll just go home. I'll
Well,
see
it's good
you.
that they let you in on it, that they let you know beforehand.
But I would know because they'd be like looking at each other funny, and they'd be like, "All right," it's like that time of the day, like especially if it's like already like
Nay
late
plano,
at
nay
night.
plano,
Like,
nay
ah,
plano,
nani plan yan eh. So I'm like,
nay
all right, I'm
plano.
out. I'm cool. I'm going home because it's yeah, like
Yeah,
you're right. Like, what if all of a sudden there's a raid? Well, what if all of a sudden
yeah. Damay ka lang.
what would happen? Right, and you don't do those shit. So I'm like, all right, no, I'm out. I'm going home. And that was a big problem for me because
Yeah,
I have a brother who would want to go with them on those things, like on
yeah,
those
yeah,
like on those particular times, and I have to like stick and like, no, you come home with me, and he'd be fighting me on
yeah, yeah.
that. But then Thank God.
Protective
My
kuya,
my my
huh?
friends, my friends would be like, no, 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 like go with your brother. But he'd be like, no, I don't want to go with my brother. I want to go with you. But they'd be like, no, 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 you go, because I would never leave. So I would like, no, you come home with me, and like with and my other brother, like we're
Yeah,
all going home together. So yeah, it was kind of like tough.
yeah, yeah. Because
But
you
then
you never know,
okay,
man. And yeah,
yeah, Charlize's like talking about like I think her son Johan, is that the name?
yeah, Johan,
He used to have
Johan,
like a
yeah, yeah.
barcada. They go walking every afternoon. See, there's no harm in walking every afternoon. See, that's a good barcada right there.
That's how they start. That you know how old
Then
Johan is. That's how they start.
they start walking. All of a sudden, they start running,
Bef-
running from the
Before you
police.
know,
Well, hopefully not.
yeah, yeah. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. I mean,
Barcada could be
yeah,
your
I
accomplice
think,
in cheating
uh,
tests or assignments. Agree.
yeah. Gamitan na, gamitan. Actually, I
Gagamitan
when
na.
I actually the ones that help me with the tests and the assignments, it's not the barkada, it's the smarty pants classmate. There are always
That's
these smarty
true.
pants classmate that can't
Okay,
say
I'm gonna
no.
tell you a story. I'm gonna tell you a story.
Because you're
Um,
barkada, you're all dumb.
that's true. You have a point. You have a point. Okay, here's the thing. I really hate math and
Pareho naman kay Bayang
algebra.
over
I,
eh.
I barely passed. I passed it, but it was it
I
was a
hate
it was a
algebra.
tough
God, I
it
hate
was a tough
algebra.
journey. Then I have to take
Did
you
you
have to
have
take
business
up
math? You had
business
business
math.
math.
Yeah, math investment.
You had
So
business math. Who was your
I had
who was
math
your
investment.
sir?
My teacher,
Who was
no, it wasn't
Mr.
Sir
Calio?
Kalia. It was the wife,
Who was
Mrs.
it?
Kalia. Mrs. Kalia was the
Okay,
kindest,
okay. All right,
you
got it.
know, like
I
was
was
the
just
kindest
Mr.
math
Calio.
teacher I've ever had. Well, Mr. Kalia is like a different
Yeah.
breed, so I'm not gonna get into it. But
Yeah, like
I'm gonna
it's
talk
sure.
about his wife. So Mrs. Kalia was the kindest
Yeah,
math
go ahead.
teacher I ever had, and I was in her class, and dude, I give up. Like me, if like I just give up. Like she hands out the test and whatever, and then I just like give up. I just like start taking a nap or whatever.
Don't bother.
Yeah, I wouldn't bother. Like I would go to the multiple choice if there's any, but then the computations, I'm just like, nah, I'm not gonna bother. Then one of my friend, like not really my barcada, but we were like kind of close, and she's a girl. Um, all right, Twinkle. Right, so Twinkle, we sit beside each other, and she was looking at me, and she was like, "Are you done?" I'm like, "Nah." I showed her my papers. It's all blank. She was like, "Are you crazy?" I'm like, "What? I give up. I can't answer. What do you want me to do?" And she's like, and she would be like doing this thing, like you know. I'm like, "No, I
Helping you.
can't.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to get caught like looking at your paper." I'm like, "No, no, it's fine. I'm just gonna I give up." Then she'd like answer her test like really quick. Then all of a sudden, I wasn't looking. I was just like,
Yeah.
like I lost hope and whatever. So I'm just like sitting there. Then she grabs my paper. She takes it off my desk and she starts
She
answering it.
she
And I have a
answers it.
blank desk. Dude, I
Oh
was like, I
man.
started pretending that
Oh
I'm
my
answering.
god.
I'm like doing this. But there was no paper or whatever on my freaking armchair. And she was
Oh
answering it.
man, she likes you.
No, she
She
didn't like me.
likes
We're
you.
good
Where is she
friends. No,
now?
she didn't like me. No, she works in a bank.
Dude,
She's
a girl
she's an
will
officer
not
actually.
exert that much effort and
No,
take
no,
a
no, 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 no,
risk
no. No,
at
I beg
getting
to
caught
disagree. We
for
no, like she was a good friend. Like she had a boyfriend at that time,
oh,
and I know the boyfriend
well,
too. So,
she's a great
you
friend.
know, yeah, she is a great friend. She helped me throughout that
Well,
math
hold on.
investment subject.
Twinkle, I kind of know a Twinkle, probably your batch. I'm not sure. Maybe a different.
Hmm. Twinkle.
She
Yeah,
Morena.
there are like a few twinkle in my batch, but
She
probably
Morena.
this is not probably not the twinkle like
Not Morena,
you
right?
know. She is Morena.
She's kind of chubby.
No, she's not. She was kind of like
Okay,
slim. Yeah,
that's a different Twinkle.
she was actually okay.
There were
But
a
she
lot
was
of
kind of like
Twinkles, a lot of crystals, a lot of right those names. There's no like everybody knows a crystal. Everybody knows a nice. Everybody knows a nice.
yeah, there's a
There's only
nice or a
there's a
nicey.
nice, right? Nice,
Uh
Twinkle, Crystal. Like everybody, like those are common
Crystal, yeah,
names
of
back
course.
then.
But there's only one Bowie though.
Yeah.
Do you know her?
Oh yeah, that's your batchmate. She's your batchmate.
She's my batchmate, yeah.
Her boyfriend's brother was I know her boyfriend's brother.
Because like her boyfriend's family are like
From the
also
states.
stateside. Yeah, 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 yeah,
From
yeah,
the
yeah.
states.
They're
Yeah,
like
yeah,
they
yeah,
have
yeah,
like
yeah. I know the
stateside
kuya. The
connection.
kuya,
All right,
the
okay,
kuya, the
that's fine.
kuya,
Yeah,
the boyfriend.
you have that
Yeah, yeah,
connection too. All right, okay.
yeah, yeah.
What's this? I had a great experience with Mrs. Calio in algebra. Yes, I told you she's one of the kindest math teachers I ever had. And you know what happened at the end of that term? She was like, no, in the because I was like failing in the first in the prelim. Then midterm I had like high grades, and like she would call you, and she would like show you your grades, and she was like, all right, okay, here's your grade. Nanay grade. Like, okay. She's like, oh, paningkamot ha? Paningkamot ug pangopya. And I was like, she knows. She knows. I was like, and she didn't even like try to fail me or whatever. At the end of that term, in the finals, she didn't give me a final grade. She was like, all right, I'm not gonna give you a final grade. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a W here, which means with Ron. What I want you to do is that you join another one of my class the next year. You don't have to pay anything, no miscellaneous, whatever, but you have to have one of your you have to pick a schedule where you have like an hour free to join my class, so you have to attend that class for
Mhm.
another term, for another semester, and if that's fine with you. So I'm like, all right, fine, I'll take it. So I attended that for another semester, and she gave me a grade. So that was really cool. So I was like, ah,
That's
God, thank
nice.
God for Mrs. Calio. She's a really nice teacher.
That's nice.
Should have failed, but
Well,
yeah,
we had
she
Mr.
gave me a chance.
we had Mr. Calio, so that's But anyway,
Dude, you
I hate
what? Did you
algebra.
pass?
Gotta hate
Did you
algebra.
pass? My wife
Ba-
failed.
barely.
Did she? I think she
I
did.
think
Did she fail algebra or did she
I
pass
know
it?
I
I'm
failed
not sure.
I know I failed my first algebra, but he wasn't my first algebra. My first algebra was engineering.
Right, right. Okay, I don't know. I have to check
Remember,
with
I
my
took
wife
up
if she failed
engineering,
her first
man.
algebra.
So
She could have, but I'm not sure. Mr. and
I think
Mrs.
everybody
Calio,
did.
the best.
I
Really?
failed my first
Including the
algebra, but
Mister?
my
What are you
first algebra
talking
was
about?
engineering.
But okay, to be fair with Mr. Calio
Yeah,
though, my sister Reese was under Mr. Calio and he passed and she passed. So I don't know. Like he's probably
oh my
okay. I
God,
don't know.
math is your favorite subject, Shari Lee. You're from another planet.
Get out of here.
Well, let's talk.
Yeah.
Let's have that as one of our topics too, like your worst subject and your best subject. What's your best subject, Ice?
I would say social studies. I'm really interested in social studies,
Best
especially history.
subject.
I love history.
I mean, when I say your favorite subject, is that also your best grade?
Yeah, I usually get high grades
Because
there, like
sometimes,
social studies and yeah, history. I like dates. I like
because
names.
my favorite
I like
subject was
events.
what's my favorite subject? I don't even know what favorite subject is. I
Yes,
mean, we don't really
Patrick,
have
Mr.
art.
Cal, you had that reputation of Mamagsakai. Terror.
Super. Um, I forgot who my engineering algebra teacher though was. She was a woman, and damn that one I didn't even come close. Plus we had Trig, we had Mr. Alpas. So that
Oh
I think I
yeah,
did better at
that
Trig
name's
than
familiar,
algebra.
Mr. El Pas.
Yeah, I think I'm Romeo Alpas. I think I did better in trig than I did in algebra. Algebra was always my enemy. And then I spoke to my Lola about it, and my Lola's like, I hate algebra. Everybody in my family hates algebra. Nobody, at least it's confirmed that nobody in my family is good in math. So it kind of comforts you a little bit. But anyways, all right. So we're talking about online
Online
and
classes,
face to
pros and
face.
cons. Yeah, face to
What's
face
more
learning.
effective? What's more effective? Um, I, I don't know. For me personally, if I had to choose and redo things, I would. Man, I don't know. I would probably prefer no because we'd miss out on seeing our crush. We'd miss out on
That's
seeing our
true.
friends.
Yes,
We'd miss out on the adventure of worrying about what to wear because when we were in Ateneo, hindi pa naman uniform, right? We could wear what we wanted. Umabot ka ba? Did you go to Ateneo and it was uniform already?
no, what are you talking about? No, it was up until I
When was that
graduated. It was
implemented?
like
When was
I
that
think after I
implemented?
finished. I think after I finished, 2 years after that, or it could be a year after that.
Yeah. Yeah, we could wear whatever we wanted. I mean, and it's so funny because um because it did you have solid menstruation? I had a grade below 60 on that subject when I was still in engineering. I don't know. I don't think I had a below 60, but I know I had a 60. I know at one time I had a 60 something. Oh, hold on, Patrick. Did you finish? Was it engineering? Was that your entire course, or was it just did you shift? Because I shifted, man. After first year, I'm like, I'm out of here. Engineering's
What
not for me.
what was your first course? CE? Was it CE?
For Patrick, CE, yes, civil
Yeah,
engineering.
okay. Yeah, your neighbor's also CE in the beginning, Master Yoda.
Yeah,
He was CE for one
and like
semester.
80% of my batchmates like ended up not pursuing being an engineer. Like if I see them
From
now, it's like some
CE
of them are like,
from CE to BA. Was that it? CE to BA. Because you went from CE to BA,
yeah,
yeah?
see, and you know what, and you know what, I really should have taken up mass comm. All the pretty girls are in mass comm. Oh my god,
The
the
lowest
lowest
possible grade
possible.
in Ateneo was 60. I had below that. Me too, Patrick. If it makes you feel better, that makes it two of us. Don't worry about it.
in algebra, in algebra.
No, it was probably calculus. I don't think it was algebra.
I was
It
computer
was
engineering and
calculus.
shifted to computer science. It doesn't make it any easier, Patrick. Jeez, you smart guy. Damn.
I know, right?
Kom sai. Oh my God. Ano ba yan?
As
As
far as I
far
can
as I remember,
remember,
65
65
is
is
the
the
lowest
lowest
during my
during my
time.
time. FD is 65. Oh crap.
Failure debarred. Right? Tama ka talaga.
Tama ka talaga.
Engineering
Yes, because
teachers
she's a
always
mass
make
comm
fun of
student.
students.
Because she's a mass comm graduate. My auntie, she was in the mass comm division, like or humanities division. So when you said like
Yeah.
you wanted to be in mass comm,
Yeah. They're all there. Nasa mascom lahat ng pretty talaga. It's like, and I know this for a fact because when I was taking up engineering, my first year, the room next to us, our section was V1. So we
right?
were we were civil engineering V1. And the classroom next to us, it would always be the mass comm class. And I forgot what their section was, but there were all the pretty girls were there. I can name them, but I don't want to get in trouble, you know. But I can remember all those girls, all pretty. So if I had known, and if I had known I'd end up in broadcasting and doing this for a living, then I should have just shifted to mass comm and get it done and over with. But what the heck, I didn't know because I didn't understand what mass comm was. I didn't understand what it was. Like,
But
what the
I
heck
know
is mass comm?
a lot of mass comm graduate who didn't even have
Because
the
there's
chance to
comm
be the
arts,
broadcast.
right?
Yeah, it's comm
There's
arts.
comm art. Yeah. You're right. There's a lot of the mass comm grads didn't even become
Exactly. So
newscasters or
that was
journalists
probably like
or
a
what.
good thing for you because me, if I was in a mass comm, if I took up mass comm, that would
You
probably
might
not the
not have been
case.
the DJ. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
So like
yeah.
and I know a lot of um people from the mass comm division or the humanities division or like the com arts course who like who are sour grapes because of not being able to get into like a radio
What
gig
why do you think that
and
is? Why do you think that
I don't
is? Why
know.
do you think like a lot of the mass comm students? Because you know why? I think I know why that is. Because I think a lot of the students who took up mass comm only did it because wala masyadong math, and they felt like it was the easiest to pass. I mean, to be fair to the mass comm students, I don't want to make it sound like only the, but it probably was like if you're weak in math or, I mean, it's not one of those like terror courses like computer
Can you
science
give
or
me a
computer
minute? I have to check
engineering or
check something
engineering in
downstairs and
general.
get like a private
Yeah,
message.
go.
Can you just like go talk? All right,
Go
hang
ahead. Go
on.
ahead. Sure. I'll just read some of the messages. Most of the DJs I know were not really mass comm grads. According to Stark Shop. Yeah. I mean, John, I think it's there's a moment of reckoning for why am I so blurred? What the heck's going on? Like it's so I'm so pixelated. Okay, anyway, I think there's a moment of reckoning for the mass comm students when they were taking up mass comm. They realized that your personality and your just basically, yeah, your personality, you being outgoing, being introvert or extrovert has a lot to do with it as well, because it's not the kind of course that when you finish it, like you go to an office and you do it and that's it. Mass comm, if you're going to be a broadcaster, you're going to be in front of the camera, you're going to be in front of a crowd, you're going to be at a crime scene, you're going to be at an event, and if your personality doesn't vibe with that, then you realize it's not something you can do. Journalism requires you to write. You have deadlines. It could be news articles and stuff, and you might like to write fiction stuff, but because like I think that's for most people, when they take up mass comm, they don't really have like a clear set exactly what they're going to be because of the options that's laid out for you. You could be a journalist, you could be a newspaper editor, you could be a, you can be a newscaster, you can be a field reporter, you can be an events host, a radio DJ, whatever. The options are there, a lot of the kids, I think, when they take up mass comm, they just go as they go along, and a lot of them really don't like math. And for me, that was the reason why I shifted to management, because I really didn't like math. And if I had known, I really should have gone to, and I should have shifted to management. No, I should have shifted to mass comm. The reason why I shifted to management was because my buddy, one of my best friends in first year college, Tagi. I don't know if you know him, but Tagi, the rocker guy. He was my. He was
Your
actually
friends?
invite. Yes, Tagi was like my best friend first year college
All right.
because I didn't know anybody, and
Master
he
Yoda
was
looked up to that
from.
guy.
Yeah, he was
He would
from
come. He would come every time he sees Tagi.
the band. The band would perform.
No, I mean, like if
Yeah.
he just sees Tagi passing by, he would come like, ah.
Oh, really? He was a fanboy. The
No,
Tagi's a regular guy.
Yeah, I
a
know,
good
but
dude.
I
He was a
mean,
good friend.
you know how you're like a freshman and like you have these older guys who you look up to. I'm like, oh yeah, that guy's
How
cool,
much
whatever,
older was our batch to you guys? Maybe
when
2 or
we
3
were like
years?
when we were freshmen? I think Tagi was around third or fourth. No, I think he was
Yeah,
graduating.
we weren't hanging around as much anymore because I
Because he
got
would be
left
like,
behind.
he had
Remember,
that
I
like
stopped a
long
year.
hair, and Master Yoda was like,
Yeah,
like rocking that long hair too.
long
But
hair.
then his hair is so wavy or like borderline curly, so it would look funny. That's why people called him
so,
Umba.
so
So he was called
so it
Umba
wasn't
when
like the
yeah,
so
Tagi
it
had like that
wasn't the
straight
like
hair,
the
right? So
alternative straight hair. He was a
yes,
that was the
right. So
correct
Tagi had
name.
that like long hair, and he'd be like rocking
I,
this
rem-
like rock
I,
shirts or whatever,
I,
and he'd be
I
walking
remember
the
him.
hallway. Wait,
Yeah,
wait. He would be walking the
yeah,
hallway with Elaine, and that's what like, oh man, that's my idol right
yeah, yeah.
there.
They
Oh,
were an
he's a
item.
rock
They
star,
were together for like
very
I think
pretty
since
girlfriend, whatever.
I,
And like, yeah, so he would come every
I think
time.
since first
Literally, he
year.
would come like when Tagi and Elaine passed away. He'd be like,
He was a
he's a
fanboy. So
fanboy.
anyway, I remember like first year, he would be like, "Bay magsiman tabay." Like he wanted us to like
What?
become like seaman, like because that's what he wanted to. He planned, and then because we were shifting from engineering, we knew it wasn't for us, and we were like the two making sabot. And that's why I took up management because of him. Because he I think he ended up choosing management. So it's like we took up management. I don't know if you were classmates, when we went to management. Then I had a new group of friends, and this new group of friends that took up management, Tiny, Carla Labastro, these guys from different
You know
schools.
Carl
So they
too?
became
You're
my
friends
new
with
group.
Carl?
Yes. Carla Labastro, Tiny Bellera, Christian Porras. These
His
guys were my
brother,
homies.
his brother, Carl's brother is my student when I was teaching. So when
Younger,
then
older,
then I like
younger brother.
the younger brother. So I was like, well, I
They're
know your
from
brother. Like, oh, are
Obrero,
you
if I'm not
friends?
mistaken.
Yeah, they are. And I was like telling him like, no, I know your brother because he was like a BA basketball player. So I know of him, but we're
Yeah,
not,
yeah,
we're
yeah.
not acquainted or anything. But
Yeah, so then I
I know
had
of your
that group
brother.
of friends. And then, so I had this group of friends, right? Second year. And then I stopped for a year because I went abroad to pursue this girl, whatever. And then, anyway, so I came back after stopping a year and slacking off. And then I had a younger batchmates, which were Carlo, the freestyle guy, and Dex, and all those guys. So then they became my group of friends. So that's why when you think about my college life, you're like, who are your friends? Why are you friends with all these people from
Hang on,
different
hang on.
batches, different
So you
schools?
mean Tagi
I'm like,
also
first
stayed?
off,
Hang on. So Tagi
I
stayed
didn't go to school here.
in college for a long time? Are you saying that? Did he finish in time?
No,
Like
Taggy probably no. I think he maybe if he didn't finish in time, maybe just a year later. I think just a year later.
right,
But
right.
he didn't
Because you're
stop.
talking about Dexter, and
I
Dexter I think
stopped, man. Like
is still like older than I am. When was Dexter born?
Dexter's still older than you. Dexter's still older than you. Dexter's
Right?
77, I think, 75 or
Right.
something like
Okay.
that. I mean, yeah.
75? Are you sure?
76,
Okay, he
76.
can be like 2 years
Yeah,
older
he's
than
just
me.
just
I'm
a
like
couple of years
78.
older. Yeah, he's just a couple of years older. Yeah, he's younger. They're all much younger than I am because first and foremost, I was already older than them when I entered Ateneo, because I finished high school at 18, and then I came here I didn't enroll right away, so I was way behind. I was way behind, but anyways, so that's why I have a lot of different friends from different schools, from different year levels, because I didn't go to high school here, so I didn't have a group of friends that came to college with me. So when I entered college in Ateneo, I didn't know anybody. My first group of friends were like Tagi, the couple of guys from Cotabato, and guys who went to Notre Dame. I thought it was Notre Dame in the States too. I remember because I was like in engineering, and we were told to get up and introduce ourselves and tell the class what school we're from. So I'm like, hey, blah, blah, blah. I'm Rodriguez. I'm from Natick High School, blah blah blah. And then like my classmates, I'm Grignell Wee. I'm from Notre Dame. So I actually spoke to him. I'm like, dude, you went to Notre Dame? I'm like, that's like a big school in the States. It's a university. Like, it's like, no, it's in Cotabato. So I'm like, oh, well, it's still a big school, I think. I think it's still a big school, but in Cotabato, it's like,
Come on,
because I
man,
thought it
get
was like
real.
Notre Dame in the States with
Get
the football
real.
team. That was, I didn't know. I was like, I approached him. And
Oh,
then
it's
all
still a
these
big school.
guys
Like,
approached me.
Rod, no.
No, but I mean,
You're
like,
like,
I didn't know. All right. So, anyways, like I said, Patrick says one way of expanding your network in college, adding minor subjects in other divisions. You know, um, God, I think that was how many were you always full load ice?
no,
Were you
there
always
there
like
was a time I
20?
wasn't full load because I would have summer classes. So if I take summer classes, some of those subjects I don't have to take, and I wouldn't do advanced whatever. So that means like my first semester would usually be like like loose because I would like
Okay.
take those advanced lessons in the summer.
Okay. All right. So I was like, I barely full load, maybe only full load my first 2 years. And then I was like, I got smart. I was like, college is fun. And I always liked the younger ones. So I always like was waiting for the first year students to come in. I'm like, okay, this is a pretty batch. There was one time I think I was in third year
Hindi
college,
biktima na.
and the batch that came in, they were all freaking pretty, man. And I think you know that batch. I don't know if that's your batch, maybe a year older than you, but they were all pretty. Like all the first year girls that came in were all pretty. I was like, oh crap. Like, um, and all my friends were like making their moves and all that stuff. And Ateneo back then was
Then
like
this song was playing in your head.
nakakia pride. Yeah, yeah. Nakakia pride
Sabihin
ka
mo na
lang.
pare, si Aida o si Lorna o si Fe.
But except different names. I mean, back then, naka-Kia Pride ka lang, naka-box type Lancer ka lang, you were a big deal already. So it was kind of, it wasn't requirement yet to be driving a pickup truck or be social and stuff. Now it's like, can you imagine now being in Ateneo, which is good now that there's this pandemic because it kind of cut down on that, that kind of direction that the kids were going. Biruin mo, you'll blow
Still,
your
man,
entire
I mean,
allowance on a Starbucks.
it's still kind of like now I look back at that particular time. I mean, like I would I,
Okay, if
I would
you're in
just
college
be
now, would you be cool?
like no, I
If you're in
like
college
now
now,
I'd be
would
cool
would we be
regardless.
cool?
We would be cool, dude. Regardless, wherever we go, we'd be cool because we have that confidence. You don't need a Civic, you don't need a pickup truck, you don't need an expensive car to be cool, right? If you need
Real?
that,
You
then
think now?
dude, I mean, come on, like
I
if
mean,
if you need a car
like
to
a
be
girl would say, "Oh,
cool, then
Starbucks,
you're not
Starbucks
cool at all.
tayo, Starbucks tayo." Ano magkano
All
baon
right,
mo?
let's go.
Starbucks
It's cool. Let's
tayo,
go to
'di ba? Wala
Starbucks.
na. That's it. 'Di
All
ba?
right,
I
then
mean, I don't know. Like now,
like then
I'd
she'd say
probably
like, "Well,
find
you
a
have a
way.
car?" Then I'd be like, "Well, do you?" That would always be my reply. Do you have a car? Well, do you?
Pro-
I mean,
pro-
don't ask me about my car if you don't have a
Probably, 'cause a lot
car.
of girls now have cars.
All
A
right,
lot
so
of
I'm like,
girls
all
now have cars.
right,
Like, do you?
I'll
Yes. Oh,
ride with
they
you.
pay hitch. Oh, they
I'm
pay hitch.
cool that way. I'll ride. I don't have issues. Yeah, I'll go ride
Yeah.
with you.
Assuming they would even approach us and invite us to Starbucks. But I don't think the Philippines ever had that culture though. Like I don't think the Philippines ever had that culture of like cool, hindi cool. I don't think we ever had that. I think like the nerds hung out with the dorks and the dorks hung out with the rich kids. I think it was like I don't think there was such
No,
a
I think we had
discrimination
that.
per
I think we
se.
had
Like,
that. It's just that
well,
when it
no,
comes
we
to
never had that. In
just
the
like when
States,
you're
yes, it
pursuing a
was
lady,
very clear.
yeah, they will, like
Yeah,
friendship and whatnot.
yeah.
But then here, it's like when like certain ladies, certain women, like kind of have that sort of mentality. They have that, like killer mentality, like the gold digging mentality. Like, not all, but then there would be women who would be in that zone, and I would never touch
or
those women. Like,
or,
no way.
or they're
Like, no,
stuck
I'm
in
I'm
their
I'm better than that.
they're stuck in their world. Like I remember there's this girl that I
Probably,
wanted to
yes.
court, and and this girl I wanted to court, and she said, "Oh, I have to go to this event, blah blah blah." I'm like, "What event is this?" And she's like, "Oh, it's this Hijos de Davao or something." I'm like, "What is that?" Like, I don't know what that is. Like, "Oh, these are like families from Davao, who've been in Davao a long time." I'm like, "Oh, my family's been in Davao a long time."
Oh, yeah, why are we not in that? What are you talking
No,
about?
I thought it was just that kind of an event. Like anybody can just go there. And it was like an Apple View, and it was like a ball. Everybody was dressed up, and apparently it's like selected families or something. And
Right?
that's
See,
kind of
that's
like
what
that
we're
was
doing.
kind of like that's kind of like okay, now I get it. Now I get why the rich marry the rich. It's because they see each other at social functions. Their parents know each other. Ninong ni ninang ni ganyan si ganyan. How do you compete with that? So if
You
you're an
don't. You just like
outsider
get out of
coming,
there.
yeah,
It's not worth it.
you have a fighting chance. You have a fighting chance. I mean, if like say if the family is open and you can carry yourself well, all you really need is to make that first step and to get to talk
That's
to the
too much
parents.
work. I think my sister's
What's
friend is friend with one of, like, well, not like, well,
like a
anyway,
well-off, like
I shouldn't have
yeah,
said that. But
like
anyway,
a well-off
it's
family.
just too much work. It's, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't even be
Yeah.
friends with all people because you already limit yourself. Me, I would love to be friends with all types of people. I don't care where they're from or what their background is. Like, if they're rich, fine. If they're not, cool. I mean, I'm not rich. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
it's
but it's
like,
just
no,
not your it's not all your call though. It's not just like I want to be friends with you. What if you don't want to be friends with you? I mean, it's not like
exactly.
I
That's
just want to
what
be
I'm
friends.
saying.
It's
That's
still
what I'm
not
saying.
your
I'm
call. It's
sad.
not all your call.
Exactly. That's why I'm just happy I'm not that type of person. That I am that type of person who doesn't limit himself. There are people who limit themselves. No, I'm just gonna be friends with these people. And fine. I mean, it's
Oh,
not
okay.
my
I get you. I get
loss,
you. I get you. I mean, like you're
right?
talking about them. Like you're
Yeah.
talking about
I mean,
them.
it's just
Okay.
sad if you have that mentality. Like, no, I just want to be friends with
Yeah.
these certain types of people. And like, all
I,
right,
I
that's
agree. I
fine. I
agree.
mean,
I
it's a free
agree. I
country,
agree. I agree.
but that's kind of sad.
Yeah.
Like, you
I,
have like you have a lot of friends who are like from different social classes. Yeah.
but I felt that, dude. I felt that.
How,
There's one
what do
school,
you mean?
I'm not going to
Right.
mention it, but there's one school where I noticed there's a similar trend. Like they hang out with their own kind until they're like 50 or 60. You go to a bar, it's still them. Same group of
Kind of
people
sad.
who
Yeah.
went to
It's
that
very
grade
sad.
school with. I'm like, really? Like I can join
Really?
them, but it's like, don't you people have new like no no I can join them like because I'm friends with some of them and I can hang out with them and I'm like that's the only group of people because I know people from different schools. Like I have friends with different school from different schools, and they have friends who they made friends with during college. So they didn't really come from the same high school or grade school, and they're friends and they hang out with each other. But there's a certain group of people that come from this certain school who usually they've been there since day one. All right, all the way till high school, and just high school. They're really tight until high school, and they could be like 50 and still hanging around with that same group, and they have like totally have nothing to do with each other. And when you hang out with them, they don't even get along. Like they're not even their chemistry as friends are not even there. But it's just like they didn't make any new friends. I mean, heck, I came in here not attending high school in the Philippines, and I made so many friends. I can't even and them. It's like they've been here all their life. And you're right. It's I think because they subconsciously limit themselves. I don't know if it's the conditioning that they get from the school that they went to, or it's the upbringing of them coming from elite families or whatever.
I would say
But I
upbringing. I would
noticed
say
that
upbringing. I don't think it's the
they're not
school.
as open. They're not because you're like oh, you come from different schools. You weren't really like from one school all the way to like right. You went to different schools, so I think
Yes.
you have
Yes.
a different kind of your loyalty is not stuck to one. I don't even know
Mm-mm.
why that loyalty thing is so important, right? Because I mean, it kind of forces you to hang out with people who are not even very nice. And just because nagaling lang kayo sa same neighborhood, same ano, you're forced to hang out with each other. No, man, the world is open. Make new friends. Because you're not gonna grow as a person if you hang out. I mean, I hang out with the same group of people, but they're not the people I hang out with. Like I hang out with the
I
Bakaka
know.
boys, but they're not the only people I hang out with. I hang out with the Kilubi boys, but they're not the only people I hang out with. I hang out with my Ateneo friends, they're not the only guys I hang out with. I hang out with, you know, they're not the only people I hang out with. And yeah, they have superiority complex. Patrick, that's probably it. The sad thing is they're not superior. That's the thing,
Exactly.
you know. Especially now, like I hang out with them. It's like they didn't age gracefully. Like these people, like what do you do? Are you still tending to your family's farm? I mean, like what have you accomplished? I mean, do people know? I mean, not I'm not saying I accomplished much, but at least we did a raid together, Ice, right? I mean, that's an accomplishment.
Mm, mm.
At least there are people that can say, okay, these two can talk a mouthful, but it's they're stuck in the past, and I think sometimes you have to move on from that and let go of that.
Hubby used
Shara
to pick
says
me
hubby
up
used to pick me up on
on his
yeah.
BMW. Everyone is like, "Ooh, BM." I am like, "So what?"
He still has a BMW. I think he has two already, but they're motorcycles. No,
Right?
you know
See,
what?
like
I
look at
remember there was a
Eternity.
time.
He hangs out with us. We don't have
Yeah,
BMWs, and he hangs
there
out with
was a
us.
time.
Judge,
I don't know
no.
if you
Sorry.
remember or you were still here, but there was a time Eternity was like bringing in a different like. It was the one time he bought in a BMW Z3, right? The
Right.
Roadster, top down. We would pick up the wifey because she worked at San Pedro Hospital. After my shift, it would be her shift because she was like 11:07 or 7:11, and so she would
Right.
endorsement. She'd be done by 12 midnight. We'd pick her up. We go to McDonald's, and Judge T would bring us home, and whatever. But he would bring the BMW. Then he has his BMW, the BMW 5 Series, I think, or the sedan that he had. That was he had for a long time. And then he also brought the smart car, which was the part electric, part
Yeah, like
this
the small
hybrid
one.
looking, right?
The
Remember?
small
Yeah,
one.
remember
Yeah,
that?
yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
the
that.
small one, the electric car. He would also bring that. So he was like, I got to ride in like exotic cars for like because of the guy, I don't know what other nice car he bought in, but he bought in several cars for a while.
Because
And
that's it, and like
and
that turns me off. If I meet somebody who's picky with people, like that type of person, just like no, I'm just friends with these types of people. Like I'm that person. Like I'm just here with the social people. Like this certain types of people. Like that really turns me off. Because one thing I learned from my
you're
dad is
probably
that
more picky though.
no, I'm not. I'm not. Well,
You're probably
I'm
more
picky in
you're
terms.
picky because you don't like those kind of people. See, you're picky. You're picky.
No, I don't. No, I
You
mean
don't like
when they start showing their pickiness,
I'm
that
kidding, I'm
that
kidding.
that's
Yeah,
that's what
I get it. I
happens.
get you.
But
I
I
get you. I
have
get
like
you.
people. I know people who are like they have money. They have the last name or whatever. But they're pretty polite and they're pretty nice to, like to pretty much
You have
everybody.
social
So
friends, man. What are you talking about? I don't
no,
think
I
you don't have friends who are like
no, they're not.
bulingot.
If I'm
You don't have
friends, if I'm
you don't have
no, if I'm friends
you
with
don't
them, they're
have
not social because I'm not social. So
bullying
I'm
it
pretty sure they're
friends.
not
You don't have
social.
bullying it friends.
No,
I
I
haven't
do
met a
have
friend of
bullying
yours
friends.
that's bullying
I'm
it.
a bullying it
I have
person. What are
bullying
you
it
talking about?
friends.
I am bullying it. I am bullying it
Dude, you don't have
myself. What are you
bullying it
talking about?
friends. All your friends are from private schools. You have friends that drive a Hummer. What
No,
are you
it's not
talking
my
about?
fault.
Live
I
in
didn't go
Fair
to a public
Lanes,
school. No, like I have,
own
like
a
my wife has
property,
public
own
school
a
friends.
property across Davao Dock. What are you talking about? All your friends are rich, man.
No, they're not
I
rich.
don't
What are
think
you
I've met.
talking about,
I haven't. I haven't met a friend of yours that's not well off.
dude? Like,
Like
I mean, what do you like? No,
I
we're
have
like in the
friends from
middle class.
all
What are you
walks of
talking
life.
about?
Okay, well, when have you
Like,
ever
same
introduced
here.
me? I don't think I've met any of your
It's,
friends. Was like
it's just they're
all your
busy
friends
with
have
their
nice
other things.
shoes. Dude, the
Well, these are
same
my
group of
like
guys you hang out
closest
with,
friends.
they're all
These are my closest
presentable.
close friends.
You can all bring them to a nice party and you won't be ashamed. Like, I'm not saying I bring my friends and I'd be ashamed. I'm just saying I have friends who are like literally like they won't feel at home in a place like that. Like there are certain places that I
I
will not
know.
even
So that
subject them
so
to it
it's
because
the same with
they'll,
me. Like,
you know,
why would I bring them in places where they're not comfortable? So I also know these
because you
types of people
don't.
are like, no,
You know,
what are
but
you
you're not
talking
friends with them on a regular. You're not. You're I know
about? No,
you.
what do you mean? No,
All
because
your
it's
friends
like
are
we
social. What are you talking about?
no. So Chuck is a shal. If there's a shal in the group, it's only Chuck.
Okay, well, hold on. Okay, name me a friend of yours that you introduced to me that isn't social or isn't at least,
Well, you
never.
haven't
You
met
never
you haven't
intro-
met all of
you,
my friends.
you never introduced me to a guy who's like Roberto Kugang or
No, I
you
know
know
people from
Edmund Tahup or
no,
everybody knows
I know
people like
people
that, but
I know
not
people
friends with
who
them.
no, I'm friends with them, but they're not my core. You know what I'm saying? But I would hang out with them Because every time I see them with my other friend is like friends with them, I would sit down and hang out with them, and
But
that
you
wouldn't be a
won't go
problem
to
for
a
me.
bar with them. You
No, I
only go
did.
there in the
I
bar.
hang out with them. No, we were at like what was that at Rizal prom. We would be there. We would hang out, and they would like from time to time visit me at the radio station. It just so happened you were not there, but they would like come visit the radio station, and I'm fine with it. And like we're cool,
Yeah, I was like,
right? So
man,
it's
I'm totally not picky with friends. Like, that's why I feel bad because you know why I feel bad because I have friends who are like, they're simple, low profile guys, and I hang out with them, and then they see me with like the social friends or the Englishero friends, and then they immediately think that that they start to distance themselves from me. They think, Bapato si Rad, whatever, whatever. We thought he was like this. Because I'm not exclusive to just one group of friends. And, it doesn't mean that they're not my friends because I have these kind of friends. I'm not exclusive to just one group of friends. Like,
mhm.
like, you know what I'm saying? But I adjust. Like, if I'm with this group of friends, sige, pasosyalan pala, go. Okay, go. I'll wear my bling. I'll pretend. I'll do my English. But if I'm also hanging out with the cowboy friends, okay, cowboy ko ba, shut na, kinutil, tuba, unsa ba diya, but like I'm saying, it's like, it's hard to mix both. It's hard to mix both. If you ask me where I'm most at home with and where I feel most myself, the regular guys, most definitely the regular guys. Because there's no pretensions. The only thing that I feel bad about is like I feel like they all look up to me because they think I'm the most well off. And you know how it is in the Philippines. It's like rerespetuhin ka na dahil sa yaman mo. Hindi ka naman rerespetuhin dahil sa utak mo. I mean, if they respect me because of my brilliance, they respect me because of my humor, then that would make me happy. But if they just think you're just this guy who has money and that's why they look up to you or respect you, then that doesn't do anything for me, man. That doesn't. Maybe the other kids who like to flaunt their wealth or think they're the richest in their neighborhood, that's the only thing they've got. But I've got more to offer, dude. Like I don't have wealth to offer at all. Like I don't pay for people's food. I don't, they pay for their pulutan and all that stuff. But I think that's the thing. It's like that's the only thing that I feel bad about being with my friends who don't really come from the high places, is that when I'm with them, it's like I feel like they take it lightly on me. Like pag mag-basketball kami, di sila maninood, you know,
Mhm.
because they think of me as like kwan is it, dili maninood. Like, but if I play with the rich kids, then they treat me like crap. You know, because they have I don't know if you've ever felt that way. If you ever crossed the line of you're hanging out with your friends in the middle class ka, you hang out with the friends who are from the lower class, so they're nice to you because you are from the higher class to them, and then you play with the kids who are from the higher class, and now you feel like you're the one who's like the last in
I
line.
don't know. Like
Like
I was, I always try to
you
put myself in a
never.
position where I am not in that position because my father was very particular with that,
That's
like
good.
social classes.
That's good.
My father was so particular with that, so I never put myself in like, oh, if I'm with these people, I feel like I'm like above or like they treat me. I try my
No,
best
no,
to
it's the
not
way they
to.
treat you. It's not
Yeah,
that
I
you
know, I know.
feel
So
it. It's the
that's
way they
why. That's
treat
why it's
you.
like I have to really adjust down. I have to like really show them that I am just as bad as you guys are. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I have to
Yeah, yeah,
like even though I know what you're saying, but then when I'm
yeah,
in
yeah.
that sort of like situation, I try to be like, no, 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 you're wrong. We're like the same, blah blah. I try to downplay that. So I always manage to be
Yeah, I
like
do too. I do too, man. But I mean, sometimes
but you
feeling
can't
ko
help
parang
it. You
it's
can't
like
help it because in your
you're
case,
insulting their.
yeah, no, I mean, I
Yeah,
understand because in your case, it's difficult for you to like. I mean, it's easy for me to downplay things because my father's not a lawyer, my mother's not a diplomat or whatever. Like you are coming from a family where your aunt's a lawyer, your mother's a lawyer, your grandmother's like a superintendent, right, and your father's like a diplomat. So like it's hard for you to downplay those things. But with me, even though
yeah.
like we were in the middle class, my dad had a like like a stable job, whatever. Um,
So you're a
I
private
think
school kid.
yeah, but then still, like it's easy to downplay those things because you don't have that, like those titles and last names attached to it.
Yeah,
Whereas with you,
yeah,
oh, you have all those things, so it's like kind of really hard to downplay. That's why you're tempted to make these kids line up outside your house and make them do things before they could watch TV. It's hard to say no to that temptation, man. It's
See, you
hard to
have to
say
bring that
no.
up. I was already trying to show the change rod. I was showing you the change rod. Then you have to bring that up. What do you have to bring that up, man? I don't know that guy. All right. I'm like Bibi Gandang That's Rustom. He's dead to me. All right.
No, all I'm saying is it's hard
That
to
rod.
resist that temptation with all those titles and last names attached to
I
it,
still can't
dude.
imagine I did that shit, man. I'm stupid. I still can't imagine, but I did it. I did it. I have to own up to it. I did it. It means I have that bad thing inside. Yeah, I have that evil this inside of me, no matter how I'll try to pretend. Don't you never did that? You never had like the urge to do it?
Like, dude, like I can't. That's what I'm saying.
You
Like if
know,
I had that, I
you,
can't.
you probably
Like I
okay, you
wouldn't be able
probably
to
would
resist the temptation. I
you,
would have.
you,
I would
you
probably
probably
have
would
been
have, yeah.
worse. I would have been
Yeah, you
worse.
probably
I
yeah,
mean,
okay, there you go. That made me feel better. But
holy
you have
crap!
to bring that up, huh? But all I'm saying is, it's
Well, that
like
was a punchline. That was a punchline. For people
all
who
I'm
get to the
saying is all
reference.
I'm saying is if there's anything I realized about the Philippines, and it totally explains why, like when you go to social media in the Philippines and you look at a Filipinos, you look at a Pinoy's like social media page, their Facebook page or whatever, Filipinos are always preoccupied with showing off, like wealth, stuff, connections, power. What it's more specifically wealth, because in the Philippines, wealth kind of equates to power, and wealth equates to fame. Um, I mean, there are people I watch on YouTube. I don't even know who these Pinoy people are, but they're just freaking rich and they have a nice house and they apparently can afford a cameraman to vlog for them and edit all that stuff. So you're like watching this vlog and I don't even know who this person is, but this person's rich. So you like end up watching it because the person has the power to come up with a show like that, even though they don't have a talent, they're not a celebrity, they're not brilliant or whatever. Unlike other parts of the world where, you don't give the Nobel Peace Prize to the richest person in the world. You know, I mean, you look at Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates, they're not exactly showing you bling, you know, but they would rather be known as the guy who created Microsoft and the guy behind Facebook rather than the guy who's third or fourth richest in the world. But and it just goes to show you the contrast. They'll still go buy their Starbucks by themselves without an entourage. But in the Philippines, it's like may konting negosyo lang, limang yaya. You know what I'm saying? It's like I don't know. I mean, to each his own. I'm not raining on anyone's parade, but that's just how our culture is, and that's just how how we perceive people as. So pag di ka nakabihis mayaman, di ka nakadrive ng magandang kotse, bobo ka na. Nothing you have to say matters. That's why I think that's why I love radio so much. It's the great equalizer. Being broadcasters, we are given a voice to be heard regardless of what we wear, where we live, who we're hanging out with. People don't even know who we are. Like, did anybody know who we are? Did people even listen to us? What we have to say? And I think in the Philippines, it's just wealth is so exaggerated, and wealth is so glorified. Na pagmayaman na, immediately tingin natin mayaman, matalino. Tingin natin, pwede na magpolitiko to. Tingin natin, pwede nang maging ano to. Like, usually, think about it. If you go to a barangay, who ends up being the barangay captain? Usually the richest in that neighborhood, right? Yung maraming negosyo. Is he necessarily the smartest? Probably not. Is he necessarily the one with the biggest heart to serve? Probably not. I mean, I don't even want to get to politics. I just want to get into like sa school, sinong sikat, 'di ba? Sinong nakaka-girlfriend ng maganda? Yung pinakamayaman. Matalino ba siya? Funny ba siya? Probably not, right? Is he the most romantic guy in the world? Probably not. I mean, but he's wealthy and he drives a nice car. So everybody get out of the way, 'di ba? Even when you get a parking spot, pag pangit yung kotse mo, the parking watch guy is probably not gonna let you park. But if you're driving a Mercedes-Benz, immediately, uy, VIP to. Malaking tao to. Let's get out of the way. I'm like, you haven't even spoken a word to that guy, right?
Nakuntain eh, nakuntain.
How would you even know what that guy is about?
PWA na nakuntain eh.
Hindi po lahat ng mayaman matalino, okay? Hindi po lahat ng pobre bobo. I mean, that's all there is to it. Hindi lahat I mean, but those things don't hold the premium, they don't hold the premium. That's why all the pretty celebrities here date the resort owners and the rich guys and all that stuff, because
And
that's just
Patrick,
how the
because you're
culture is.
in Australia, that's why you don't get why some people are famous here in the there in the Philippines.
Me too.
Because
I
you're in
don't get.
Australia.
Dude,
Yeah, because like Rod is a
yeah.
state's background. So me now that I live in Japan, I feel the same way too. I'm like, I don't really get it. Like it doesn't make sense.
I
But
don't get
yeah,
why
I
people
mean
are famous.
you look at them from afar and you're like, oh my god, this is unbelievable. Like, wow, why? Yeah, you don't get it. Like I would just baffle you. You know what I'm saying?
But I mean, from our broadcasting background, I have been so underwhelmed so many times by people that I put on the pedestal before I met them, because nga mayaman, because nga sikat, because ganito, and then you have a one-on-one talk with a person, and I'm like, oh my god, like Iceman's 10 times more brilliant than this guy. I mean, heck, I'd rather
I
talk
feel
to
insulted
Chi-
now. Why would you even compare me to that guy? It was like my dad would be like, why unod? Why unod? My dad would always say that, like, hi kamabaw. These are his
I'm just
terms.
saying.
Hi
I'm,
kamabaw. He would always like
I'm
every time
just
I say
saying.
something
The-
silly, like he would say that, like,
yeah,
oh kamabaw. That's her goal in life. That is so
I'm just
shallow.
saying.
Oh crap.
That just say like sana lang Filipinos will give credit to people because of their intelligence, because of their heart, because of yung what they are as a person and not what they own. And if they're rich and they're brilliant, then so be it. That's good, right? Pero kung Diyos mo na just because mayaman, or just because naka VIP or whatever, may bodyguard or whatnot, wag naman ganon, right? I mean, it's like praise them. I mean, not praise them, but like be awed by their wealth and how they acquired it. Okay, negosyante to, magaling siguro to sa negosyo. Pero don't immediately assume that that person is better than the next guy just because, baka
Right.
sinuwerte lang. Diba? Baka may mabait lang na
Okay.
lola, pinamana sa kanya yung lupa.
Holy
Wala pala
crap.
kwenta ng
See,
tao.
and we were
Diba?
talking about online learning versus face-to-face learning. And here we are
Hey,
talking
it
about
makes
other
it
people's
it
wealth.
makes a difference. You know why it makes a difference? Because online learning is also the great equalizer. Hindi na nakikita ng students sino naghahatid sundo, anong kotse ng parents, gaano kaganda yung mom, gaano kaganda yung uniforme, yung sapatos. It's an equalizer. We're all kind of the same
That's true. I agree. I
online.
agree.
Diba? It's an
But Patrick has a
equalizer.
real
No
good question
rich
right
kid,
now.
no. Go.
Yeah, I have a question though. Do Filipinos need to go abroad to realize these ideas?
Apparently,
Well,
yes.
sometimes, yeah, apparently
Ice,
yes. 'Cause sometimes
right?
people need to get out of their comfort zones to realize
World.
that, like,
Yeah, yeah.
ooh, oh my god, that was silly.
There's more.
It's not that important.
Yeah.
There's more to life. There's more to it than just the things that we used to think were valuable. So I think,
Yes.
yeah, and because if I haven't come to Japan and stayed for more than a decade, I would still be like the sindak part, like, oh, like because Filipinos are so good at that, like sindakan and stuff like that. And like Rod said, like, oh,
Yeah.
and for the most part you'd be underwhelmed. Most of the time
Yeah.
you would be
Yeah.
underwhelmed. And
I
the
remember you
you're
telling
abroad,
me, Ice, that there are things that, like, you were telling me that that there's this girl that who's like, she's American or foreigner, and then this guy was like flaunting his wealth or
yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah,
It's
that
just like,
Australian girl.
I don't get it. Like she said, she doesn't get it. Like I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
get it. Like what?
she's
Right?
Australian.
She didn't get it.
Japanese Australian, but yeah, yeah, she was born in Australia. Her parents were Japanese, but yeah, she's Australian. And she was like, I just don't get it. Like the guy was flaunting
I don't
everything.
get it.
Cars, took them to like their hometown, and like a big house, hacienda or whatever. And it was like trying to like
She
touring them,
doesn't. Yeah.
whatever. And
Yeah. 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 Like this is hours. This is all that.
and even after that, like with all the accommodation and all the nice things that the guy gave, like to them, or has given them, the ending was just like, well, I didn't really get it. Like I preferred to be like
Yeah.
to be with my friend and be on our own and have fun, to explore like the culture, and not to be,
Yeah.
like we didn't want that. Like that's what she was trying
her
to say.
her mind would have been more blown away if they just like had a decent conversation and he was being
Exactly. If they
funny and
somebody
being
where
intelligent,
they started
right?
eating with their hands, like, this is
Yeah.
awesome.
Pakibaya
We
sa
never
bahay mo, di ba? Di naman siya titira
It's
dyan.
so awesome.
But
I never eat with my hands. I always eat with my feet. This is going nowhere.
okay, anyways, we're way past our time limit.
Yeah. Okay,
If we never had one, but
wrapping it up like yeah, like we said our pieces earlier. Yes, I would I'm hardcore face to face conventional way of learning. So, but if somebody can figure it out like how to go about the online learning and do it effectively, I'm all for it.
yeah.
No problem.
I agree with Ice. I agree with Ice. I think face to face is, it's scary to think that it's a dying art now. It's already bad as enough as it is that people don't socialize as much anymore personally. Even when they're face to face, nasa cellphone pa rin, nagwahana pa rin ng Wi-Fi, kahit may kausap na, they don't even bother, right? Nobody even talks on the phone for longer than 5 minutes anymore. We have nothing to say, and yet we have something to share and post and whatever. So it's sad. So I think the kids should not be deprived of that. I think it's a skill that will help them grow as people. And if it's going to be all online, then that will be very limited. But if it is what it is, and it's how to deal with the situation best, then I hope that we find ways to strike a balance where, yeah, it's online, but the social skills are not compromised as much with maybe a new approach to teaching. So let's, the parents be patient, okay? Because we're all new to this: the teachers, the schools, the students, and us as parents. And we have to be patient with you know with the situation, and find ways to let your kids learn and be there to guide them. Don't teach them everything. Do you believe in teaching everything, guys? I mean,
Uh,
kung lahat ng
uh
classmate ng kung lahat ng parents ng classmates ng anak mo ginugugol yung sagot, should you
no, no,
stick to
no,
your
no.
Did
Sorry,
you
sorry, sorry,
stop
sorry.
it?
Like, no, like no.
Okay, it's okay.
I accidentally push it. Like no.
No, no, but
It's important that they should learn on their own. They should make mistakes and learn from their mistakes. They can't just like
okay.
get all the answers correctly in the first try. I know there's Google, it's easy, but then it's also good for them to make those mistakes and
Closing
realize
time
what
na,
the
Jong.
mistakes.
Closing time. Last order na. Last order na. Closing time na, Jong. Ipalukan na tagsuga.
Oh,
I thought Jong was gone. I thought Jong was gone. Wala, ipalukan na tagsuga. Last order na. Wala na to, wala na, wala na.
Latagi na nagbanig.
Bill na,
Latagi na
Bill.
nagbanig.
Cheat.
Chin, sir.
Pakap na, pakap.
Sir, chin.
Haptik na kayong kamot.
Hapting na kayo. No, I was getting it ready, and I was like typing a message to my mother-in-law, and I I accidentally like pushed it. No, because it was about the
All
air
right.
conditioning downstairs because they were staying. They had a night over since Wednesday, and my mother-in-law sent me a message. Can you check the our room if I turned off the air conditioning? Because maybe in my mind I'm freaking out like what the bills, whatever. But yeah, well, it was already turned off. So
Namundak na witness.
Unbelievable. Oh my god. Closing time. They always play that, yeah?
Man, you know
They
what?
always play
Yeah,
those
they
bars.
used to they play that all the time. I remember at Paddy's Point they would always play that and then like turn all the lights on. Actually, it's the opposite.
Yes.
If you go to a bar, they turn the lights on. They don't
Right.
turn it off. They turn all the lights on. That means we Anna. Man, I
Yeah,
haven't had.
so you
I just have to
so you
say
guys
this. I haven't had.
so you guys
I haven't had Red Horse in so long, and I don't think I'm gonna
oh,
have Red
man.
Horse anytime soon because it's liquor ban until December 31. At my birthday.
What?
For crying out loud.
Until
So
December 31st?
yes.
So that
Well,
means
that's what I
nobody's
read. I'm not.
drinking these days? Is that what you're saying?
Nobody's drinking. No, I haven't had Red Horse in so long, dude. I forgot how it tastes like. Like, I'm
What?
done.
Gmo also plays that
I,
song when they close down? Which one? Tan tan tan
closing
tan
time.
tan tan tan. Which one? Closing time or the tan 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 tan?
Yeah.
Sasaw na
Anyway,
kayo,
all
hubog
right.
na gini mo tawanan
So,
eh.
bug na, wala na.
Wala na.
Nobody's even drinking, man. So anyway, so Saturday, what's your topic? I was thinking
Well,
Pinoy movies or something. I don't know. Ano ba? Would you have something in
yeah.
mind?
Not yet. Like, you want to do Pinoy movies?
Yeah, like I think we've
It's
done it.
funny. We know, Patrick. We were
Yeah.
just kidding.
I think I think we've done it, but we haven't like had a full episode about senyales ng mga Pinoy. But I don't know if Pinoy movies are still like that though. But we can even include the new Pinoy movies. The formula for new Pinoy movies now is like mag best friend, then alaman na mamamatay pala kasi may malubang sakit yung best friend. Then doon pa niya na-realize na in love siya.
How
Like
about,
stupid,
okay,
stupid. Okay, that one.
absurd
Okay, absurd.
Filipino
I'm
culture?
good with that. I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
Absurd Filipino culture. Let's go with that. Yeah,
Okay.
because
Sige, like
it can.
example, like
Like
example,
we're talking about, like we just talked about it.
pabalot pag-uwian.
Y-
Best Pinoy movie titles. That's a good one too. We can do that on Monday because Monday is usually our silly episode, right? So what are we doing? Absurd Filipino culture. Ice, your mic's mute, I think, or my headphones messed up. I don't know what's going on. Maybe my earphones messed up. No, my headphones good. Can anybody hear Ice? I can't hear him. Yeah, suko ng waitress Ice. I don't hear anything from Ice. Yeah, so I thought it was me. So, there. Yeah, you touch something down there. Touch it again. It's the cable down there. There. Sige pa. Sige pa. Something down there. Suko na waitress. Wala na. Musdak na. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. It's the wire. It's the wire that you were touching. The cable. It's loose. Yeah, touch something down there. Last song na lang na sir. Manira pa mi. I feel bad for those waitresses that have to close shop. And then there are a bunch of palahubogs in that one table that doesn't want to stop drinking. I'm probably one of those guys in that table. All right. So, anyways, yeah. So we're talking about Filipino culture, absurd Filipino culture. I don't know exactly what an example of that would be. Are KTV bars still operating? Panirado na mo. Are KTV bars still operating? Jong, are KTV bars still operating, Jong? I wouldn't know. I haven't been in a KTV bar in a long time. If they are open, I wouldn't mind. Like maybe but no, obviously there's no drinking. So what's the point? I mean, there's no such thing as ladies drink. What are they gonna drink? Kali? Um, yeah. I think wala, no KTV bars. Oh man,
How
no
about now?
wonder. No one. Yeah, I hear you. There.
Crap, stupid.
What happened?
I
What
lowered the
cable?
volume. I lowered the volume to like zero.
Wala na. Hubog na. Guard.
Hubog, hubog na, hubog na.
Hubog brief. Hubog
Maoy,
brief.
maoy madaling host sa occasion.
Wala na, abot na sa limit. No KTVs. That's sad. No wonder I'm being added by all these girls who look familiar. Mga wala nang trabaho pala eh. You know?
Sir, naligyan to sa mong KTV, sir.
Parang ito man yung nag-lap dance kay Iceman nun. Wala na
Okay.
kuya tutusin yung KTV. Kaya wala naman
Trash
mix
here. We're
deal.
talking trash. All right. Okay. So, we're doing this on Saturday.
Absurd Filipino culture. Yeah. Give examples.
Well, yeah, like
Like,
the bring home.
yeah, bring home. Bring home.
And
Ano pa? Absurd Filipino cultures. There's a lot that can't be explained. The ninong ninang, I guess.
yeah,
Like,
ninong.
you have to give to your inanak every time you see them.
I know.
That's why you have to like
the inanak din.
ikay-likay.
every Christmas and whatever. Like, oh my god,
No, no.
lots and lots of those things.
Yeah. So
Panlibre pag birthday.
yeah, make
See,
sure
panlibre
you're
pag birthday. Or for example, if
yes,
you have
yes,
new
libre pag
shoes,
birthday.
they step on it. Why would they step
Tapakan.
on it?
Tapakan.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay, let's not
bunyagan
blow
tala,
our wad
bunyagan.
and okay. Sige,
Bunyagan
sige.
tala yung
We can talk
sapatos. Di
about
pa ni
that.
siya Kristiyano. Let's see. Ay, nagbunyagi. Hindi mo ni Kristiyano akong sapatos.
Yeah, and like being invited to a wedding and you bring like three other people when it's just a plus one.
All right. Okay.
Typical din yan.
So Patrick's reminding us, ang take out ng sisig, baka malimutan. Pack up na, pack up, pack
Grabe,
up.
di man lang naubos. Sige, sige. Para and the bukog, para ni sa mong iro. Mo iro.
Kinsa man yung hero?
Kiton pag wala.
Ang hero.
Pabalot na lang namin sa kay para sa mong iro. Unsa iro eh? Magabot sa balay.
Holy crap. All right. So we'll talk about those absurd Filipino culture on Saturday, and on Monday, Jong's suggestion, best Pinoy movie titles. We'll talk about those
Yes.
in the next two
Oh yeah.
episodes. So
All
thank you
right.
for joining us, and it has been a pleasure hanging out with you. Um,
Yes.
my name is Iceman,
Rod Rodriguez.
and we are out. We'll see you. Adios.